dealt with there on that big run from Yutoi Kamanu as they swing it away here with that middle section of the park. And Salmon comes across to make the tackle. Also in there, Max King on Trent Liero. On the right-hand side here, last play, the kick from Wishart. Down towards this western side, southwestern corner. It's there for Montoya. His first involvement for some weeks here. Montoya come back to the neck injury, and he'll play at 35 out from his own line. Dogs on the attack there. Galvin at dummy half, forced back there in a big tackle by Eliesa Katoa, and he'll play at 35 out, 20 in from the western side, although no one's waiting for it because there was some push and shove going on. Meanwhile, the play does continue. The first player diving the footy is Bronson Sherry. Canterbury on the attack, 40 out from their own line. Here's Tracy. He came back into the side last week for Cameron Serraldo's men. 5 short of the halfway, 20 in from the western side, and this will be second last play now for the Doggies. Max King to Galvin. Half break there, and he's run down there by Joe Chan. 5 inside Melbourne territory, northern end of Amy Park. Comes to the left-hand side. Burton last play kick. Off a step, down towards the wing there for Anderson, and he goes to ground. The kick out comes in quite overzealously, but nothing doing by way of a penalty here for the Storm, who go on the attack. 20 out from their own line, Ryan Hoffman. No score inside the first 2 minutes.
Oh, this game is going to be a doozy, I reckon, because there are some real feeling in that first defensive set from both teams. Getting stuck in it nice and early. There really is. I've mentioned a couple of times, there is a semi-finals feel here tonight.
And Coates has the footy here for the Melbourne Storm, 35 out. It's been in from the western side as Grant. Burst at dummy half here. Gains a quick 18 metres, and he's poleaxed there by Sam Hughes, who was actually Symbian last time these sides met, round 6 last year. Last play kick, under the chest of Connor Tracy. Dogs back on the attack out of that southern end of the ground, and the fullback is tackled 25 out, 20 in from the eastern side. Storm 0, Bulldogs 0. 2.5 played first half here in Melbourne. You're with Brett Sprigg, Ryan Hoffman, Ian Cohen earlier in Mudgee. Canberra 20, Penrith 16 in Golden Point. Ko Weeks with the winning try as referee Adam G just blows time off briefly. Back underway here with Burton on play 2 now for the Doggies. 35 out, 20 in from the western side in front of us here at a packed Amy Park. Second versus third on this Friday night on ABC Sport. Kick out. He's taken down 8 metres short of the halfway. Haywood dummy half off to Galvin. He can try to jink around the tackler there in Joe Chan, who gets him right smack bang on halfway. Last play, Canterbury-Bankstown. No score here so far in Melbourne. Burton's kick off that left boot. Goes high down towards the wing there of Anderson once more. Leaps up, brings it down. Kick out comes in a little more conventionally this time, and he'll play it there, Anderson, 15 out. A little dummy there from dummy half as Wishart's collared by Montoya. Ref said it was legal. Storm roll on here, play 3 as Nick Maney, who was a former Bulldog, played 3 years at Canterbury, moves the footy out wide, and now Katoa tackled by Kickow. 8 short of halfway, western side of the ground. Back on the inside now again here for the Melbourne Storm, and getting up to play it there is Josh King. He's come back to that short side, right-hand side of the park. And Wishart stands in the tackle of Haywood, rolls it back there for Grant. Last play, Melbourne. Munster's last play kick. 4 gone first half. Still no score here at Amy Park. High ball down towards Connor Tracy. He can dart across the defensive line. Comes back on the inside there where Liero takes him 20 out centre field.
There's some positive signs from both teams on a couple of plays who've had a couple of runs. For the Melbourne Storm, a lot was said. Harry Grant took a long time to take some carries against the Penrith Panthers. He's had a couple of good darting runs. And for the Bulldogs, Lockie Galvin, he's getting his hands dirty, taking a couple of runs, testing out the Storm defence.
Oh, it was a forward pass there. Haywood was actually forced back there by one of the markers, and he'll argue that's why the pass came out forward. But either way, it was a forward pass, so it will be coming back here for a Melbourne ball. 40 out from that southern line in front of the what stands that one? Is that that's the Cameron Smith stand up on the eastern side. Really, so that's
we call that the southern grandstand.
Ryan Hoffman standing.
No, I've got the toilet block out the back.
It's down to you, Ian Cohen.
I think Hoffy's got a seat just over onto the left-hand side, the Ryan Hoffman seat. There is plenty of feeling in this one, no doubt about it. We've already seen Burton and Grant go at it a little bit off the ball as well, and we've seen Kickow's approach to making sure no one's going anywhere. So everyone is up and about. You can feel it down here on the sideline.
Busy night here in Melbourne as well, as there's action across the road at the MCG. Through hands it comes. Papenhuyzen's first run of the game. He's brought down by Bronson Sherry, 35 out, and 20 in from the western side in front of our ABC Sport commentary box. Munster driven back there by Preston, and he'll play it now 40 out. 7 wasn't the tackle. Now through hands again, Liero. Swings it wide to the outer part of the ground where you took Tuikamanu in his 99th NRL game is tackled 30 out. Back on the inside, Munster links up with Josh King, and he'll be playing at 30 outs in the field. So at the MCG, Collingwood leads Melbourne as they approach half-time there. Give you the score shortly. Also, the cricket, of course, happening in Mackay. Busy night for sport right across Australia. Now, Papenhuyzen is tackled 20 out, 20 in from the eastern side. Last play, Melbourne. Off a step, the Wishart kick goes up in the air. Coates competes, but it was in there first for Jacob Carraz. Footy jars free, and that scuffle there on the eastern touchline. You could quite see what happened. It wasn't that far. Corner Hoffy. It looks like it's going to be a Melbourne ball. Was it a changeover? It'll be Canterbury ball. 8 out from their own line. Southern end. No score here. 7 going first half, ABC Sport.
Yeah, I think that's actually going to be a Melbourne ball. Melbourne ball. Very smart work by Xavier Coates. Everyone expected Xavier Coates to go up and start flying, but he just stood there. He didn't actually leave, waited for the ball to be caught on the sideline and pushed him in the touch.
They forced Carraz over touch. There you go. So Grant onto Tuikamanu, and he stands in the tackle of Salmon, who'll play it 5 out, left-hand side of the uprights. Grant dummy half of the Storm. Across to Munster. Katoa offloads back here. Wishart's been lost by Nick Meany. Early error under some pressure there. Meany against his former side. That'll be a Canterbury ball here. 10 out from their own line. Southern end. Storm nil. Bulldogs nil. 7.5 gone. First half here at ABC Sport, and Colin on the touchline.
Yeah, well, there is a slight breeze going towards the north, so that might be affecting some of those kicks. We've hardly talked about the surface. It is looking good.
Yeah.
It is pristine, but it is actually a little bit damp. So there is some rain potentially predicted tonight, but it's a little bit damp at the moment.
Approaching half-time at the MCG. Collingwood 6:10:46. Melbourne 5:2:32. We'll keep you across Port Adelaide v Gold Coast as well. So a couple of big AFL games tonight. Crichton here. Right hand side's come almost ducked in the process. Out in open space though. Chased there by Papenhuyzen and Liero, and he stopped 5 short of halfway. Play there for Tracy. He explodes from dummy half. And now Hughes straightens his run there into Eli Katoa. He'll play it 40 outs in the field. So positioned well here, the Storm, and 6-5 for Bulldogs. And then 6 more as well here against the Storm. Haywood off to Burton. Just drives there on the tackle there of Tuikamanu. Play at 35 out, 20 in from the western side. 8 going first half here on ABC Sport. There's Xiaomi kick out, and it takes 3 Storm players to stop him. 20 out and 15 in from the western side. 5 to the right hand side now. Burton, Salmon, and now Max King tackled from behind. 11 out centre field. Haywood on this second last play. Of it comes Galvin, and now almost lost out there by Preston. In fact, it was forced back by the Storm defence. Play on here though for Canterbury as Hughes stands in the 3-man tackle. Metre and a half shy, right-hand side of the post, northern end for Canterbury. Opportunity here. Haywood dummy half. Back to Galvin. Inside to Tracy. He darts away from 1, 2, not quite. Now it's last play, Bulldogs. 3 metres out, right-hand side of the post. Haywood finds Burton, carries it, shares it with Galvin, puts in the kick for the corner here, and Papenhuyzen runs it out, touching goal. And thwarts the Canterbury attack there, and it remains Melbourne nil, the Bulldogs nil. 9 gone first half. ABC Sport, Ryan Hoffman.
Yeah, the Bulldogs had a great passage of play there. Really good defence, forcing the error from the Melbourne Storm. Then Stephen Crichton, great captain's run there, getting his side into an attacking position. It was good attack by the Dogs. They tested the Storm, couple of inside sort of plays. I like Lockie Galvin's running first and going to the line, making the Storm defence make decisions.
So, line drop out Melbourne as they go short here. Papenhuyzen's kick, and it actually goes out on the full, and didn't go 10 anyway, so it's going to be an incorrect restart there from that line drop out, and more ball here for Canterbury. 10 out from that northern line.
Yeah, he really got that wrong, Ryan Papenhuyzen, because they've got a great target there. They should be landing those ones on the 10.
So a full set here, 10 out for Melbourne's line. Galvin first receiver, now Salmon on to King, straightens that run, approaching the post, and he's tackled there firstly by Grant in concert there with Liero. Played to Haywood dummy half. So starting again at dummy half, Bailey Haywood for Cameron Serraldo's Bulldogs, and now Bronson Sherry threads back on the inside, tackled 8 metres out, left-hand side of the post. Haywood goes again, carries it right-hand side of the field. Salmon dummies to the right, darts back here. Liero meets him in concert with Katoa, and they peel off now. Haywood dummy half to Galvin. Canterbury dangerous here in attack. Galvin shrugs one tackle, caught down there by Liero. 8 out, dead centre field here for Canterbury. Haywood goes from dummy half, goes back to the left-hand side now, Salmon, and now Max King is tackled by Liero, and also Papenhuyzen and Grant. Last play, Dogs, 7 out from Melbourne's line. Haywood to Galvin, puts up a high cross crossfield ball and launching down there. Carraz shares it with still the last Canterbury. Crichton kicks for the in-goal area, and this time Papenhuyzen guards it dead, and that will be a restart from 20 and 7 tackles for the Storm. He was felled afterwards as well by Stephen Crichton with Papenhuyzen, but a 7-tackle set here for the Storm. 20 out from their own line is where they get things going through Xavier Coates. No score here, 11 gone first half. Earlier in Mudgee, Canberra 20, Penrith 16 in Golden Point there. So back-to-back extra time heartbreak for Panthers fans as they let that opportunity for top 4 go begging for now. Here's Seve in his 50th game. Another set restart going Melbourne's way this time as they're just short of the halfway line. Now with that repeat infringement will be a penalty. And it's formally made known there by Adam G. It will be a penalty, not just a set restart here with that second offence.
Yeah, coaches from both teams will be very happy with their team's defence inside their 20-metre line. The opposition's had a crack at both teams and they've come up trumps. And the pleasing thing from both teams, I suppose, the best thing that they've done defensively is line speed. They're not giving the opposition attack much time to make a decision. They're forcing them to play.
Cricket happening as well tonight as well. That second one-day international in Mackay. Australia 3 for 103 in the run chase there in response to South Africa's 277. That's the 23rd over 3 for 103. You can hear that via the ABC Listen app. Quentin Hull and the team there for that second one-day international at Great Barrier Reef Arena in Mackay. Here you go, the Storm. Keep an attack here. 20 out, 20 in from the eastern side. 6 more here for the ruck infringement. So Munster rips it back here again. Wishart, Papenhuyzen up that right edge this time. And he's claimed there by Burton. Play it now, 17 out from that southern line. Wishart shares it back now, Liero, pressing up centre field, takes 3 doggies with him. He'll play it now, 11 out centre field. Storm, no score so far in this game. Top 4 blockbuster. Munster, Papenhuyzen, right-hand side, tipped on here and recovered. Anderson steps in field and he'll play it deep in that southwestern corner of the ground. Katoa dummy half, back to Papenhuyzen. It's going to be 6 more again here for inside the 10. So repeat set Melbourne as Munster is tackled. 9 out from that southern line. Ill discipline here from the doggies, Ryan Hoffman, as Adam G's just coming in to have a word.
There's a player, it's Burton. He's down with the trainer. I mentioned before the Bulldogs line speed has been very good. It's been a bit too good. They've been pinged too many times.
Down to you, Koza.
Yeah, it was when Grant Anderson came inboard. Grant Anderson came inboard from the sideline. Burton was approaching him and just got the knee twisted up really badly. But he's up and going now. But it was when Anderson came back in, Burton tried to tackle him. So well done to Burton for standing up because it was an ugly incident.
It's almost a hyperextension there of Burton's knee. So
it's opposite to a medial.
Munster will play at 9 out here. Yatoi Kamano, dummies, and now carries the footy into Salmon and also Sam Hughes. Play it now. 5 outs in the field. Opportunity for the Storm. Still no points in the game so far for either side. Wishart, Munster, and now on that left edge, it's with Joe Chan, who scored a try against Penrith last week at Western Sydney Stadium. Grant dummy half. Open side right, he comes. Munster, and again through hands, Liero, Wishart, back to the right now, Papenhuyzen, shrugs away 1 tackle. He's claimed there. 12 out by Burton. Play it now. Grant from dummy half goes himself, shares it with Munster. Can't quite get through the gap, Cam Munster, and he'll play it. 4 metres out from that southern line. The Bulldogs are so desperately defending. Grant off to Wishart. Crossfield kick, up it goes. Where's Xavier Coates? This time Carraz does well. Get in front of Xavier Coates. But is he back in the field of play? He is. They'll start a new set from very deep in that southeastern corner of the ground, Hoffy. It remains Storm 0, Bulldogs 0, 14 gone first half.
Yeah, they did their homework, the Bulldogs. They showed good defence, getting numbers around the ball, not allowing Xavier Coates a straight run into it. But for the Melbourne Storm, turning it over 30 centimetres out from the try line in the corner is a good spot.
Underway in Adelaide in the AFL. Port Adelaide 1, Gold Coast 0 there. Half-time at the MCG across the road from us. Collingwood 46, Melbourne 33. There's an early kick here on the second last play from inside 40 for Canterbury. Picked up by Papenhuyzen. Plenty of space in move. Inside ball back there for Xavier Coates. And he surrenders 35 out from his own line at northern end. Hot footy early on. End-to-end stuff here between Melbourne and Canterbury-Bankstown. And here they go, the home side, through Grant Anderson, who's off to the Broncos next year. Over halfway they go now again through Nick Meany. So, midway through the count, Munster needs options, goes on the toe here. Chasing it is Joe Chan. First one to it, Carraz. Great defensive work on that far side for the Bulldogs, and they'll get possession again, 11 out from their own line.
Yeah, Joe Chan just sort of ran alongside the ball. I think he was waiting for Xavier Coates to come and grab it. He should have just picked the ball up and took a shot to the try line. It was a great kick by Munster.
15 going first half. You're on ABC Sport. You're with Brett Sprigg, Ryan Hoffman, Ian Cohen, across ABC Radio, News Radio, and indeed the ABC Listen app. Bulldogs waste no time here. Galvin swings it wide. Burton now kick out. On here to Bronson Sherry. They're all over him, and he's wrapped up by Anderson and also Nick Meaney. 20 out, 10 in from the western side. Now Montoya is gaining half a dozen here for the Bulldogs. Play it now to Haywood. On the last play, him in their own end here. Burton's kick travels high and long cross field. Bounced away from Xavier Coates, and he skips into the defensive line. He was stopped there by Preston, 5 short of halfway. Dummy half Munster off to Seve. 50th game tonight for the Melbourne Storm. Marion Seve play at 40 out from that Bulldogs line. Munster finds Papenhuyzen on play 3. Here's Wishart, escapes Sherry, still going. There's Wishart, dummies the pass here. Now to Katoa, and he can go the rest of the way. Oh, Tracy chased him, might have got him. The ball was grounded, and that's a try for Melbourne. Not quite there for Connor Tracy in defence. And Nelly Katoa runs the footy in for the first points of the game. Melbourne 4, Canterbury 0. Kicks to come Storm, 16 gone first half. ABC Sport, Ryan Hoffman.
Yeah, great effort by Connor Tracy in the end to try and stop the try from Nelly Katoa. But it's Tyron Wishart. We mentioned in the pre-game, I could have seen Jonah Pezza coming in for his organisational skills, but Craig Bellamy knows a hell of a lot more than me, and he knows how dangerous Tyron Wishart's running game is. He just takes the line on consistently, throwing dummies. Beautiful draw and pass on the fullback Tracy, who did very well to get back into the tackle, but the big second row gets the ball over the line.
11th try for the year for Eli Katoa, down to Ian Cohen on the touchline.
He's so versatile, Eli Katoa. He's great in the air. He manages to bat it back. He'll take the ball himself. He was there in the right spot at the right time. Tyrone Wishart, though, is starting to cut them apart, and you feel that Storm have got a little edge at the moment. It's a little edge, but it's only the smallest margin, but important points on the board.
Eli Katoa to me, Hoffy, still feels like somehow underrated, even though he was Dally M back rower of the year last year. He's still a player that just clubs don't realise how good he really is.
He really, but I just love his competitiveness on everything. Kicks, he chases everything. He's obviously been given a task to go out there and just chase everything he can.
Meaney's kick. A handful of steps in from the western sideline. He was 1 from 4 against Penrith last week. This one looks pretty good though. There's the extra 2. Storm 6, Doggies 0. 18 going first half. You're on ABC Sport. You're with Brett Sprigg, Ryan Hoffman and Ian Cohen. After earlier in Mudgee, Canberra all but secure with the minor premiership with a 20 points to 16 golden point win over the Penrith Panthers. So that means that with games to come, Canberra, they got the Dolphins in the last round. Who did I say they have next week? Tigers next week. Yeah, you'd fancy them to win at least one of those. They've got the minor premiership wrapped up here. Of course, what's at stake here is top 2.
Top 2, which is very important. But I tell you what, the Raiders deserve the minor premiership for their season.
They thank those wins early, and they've done all the hard yards. A very impressive year for Ricky Stewart's men, who look all but short of finishing top. As the pass comes through centre field here, it's hit up there by Josh King. One of 4 players played every game this year for the Melbourne Storm. It's got a double a month ago against the Sydney Roosters. Comes back to the right-hand side of the park. Western side here at Amy Park. There's the try scorer, Katoa. Plays it there for Wishart. Spots up Lero, first receiver, and he's brought down to the 3-man tackle. 20 out centre field here for the Melbourne Storm, who lead 6-0 on their own deck. They've lost just the 1 home game this year. Yatuika Manu spins out of the tackle there from Preston, and also in there was the halfback Galvin. And he'll play it now, 20 in from the eastern side, 30 out to his own line. Centre field run again here from Lero. Busy in this game early on the lock forward, and he'll play it there. It comes off to the left-hand side. The running kick from Cameron Munster. Hangs in the air for a fair while. Tracy with the take. Plenty of space to move here for the Doggies fullback, and he's met there by Munster, Joe Chan et al. 25 out, 20 in from the eastern side.
Yeah, Storm might have a bit of an issue here. Harry Grant was limping in the background, sort of grabbing the back of his leg. I don't know if he's grabbing his glute or grabbing the hamstring, but he is very proppy and not moving very well.
That's one for Koza to keep an eye on. Here's Stephen Crichton. Steps in centre field here for the Bulldogs. Played out of Haywood. On tackle 4. Away it comes. Hughes to Burton. There's kick out. His former Panther. Loose ball pounced on there by Tracy on the bounce. It was awkward there for the Bulldogs. And now Sherry run down from behind. He was sandwiched between Liero and also Katoa. Played 8 short of halfway here for the Bulldogs. Here's Salmon, who wheels and goes now. Gains half a dozen. And he's tackled there by Josh King on halfway. Last play, Bulldogs who trail 6-0 at the hands of the Storm. Galvin's kick high downfield there. Xavier Coates leaps up. Carraz coming the other way. It was deemed to have been batted forward first by the Bulldogs. It'll be a Storm ball. Changeover, 20 out from their own line. Northern end it remains. Melbourne 6, Canterbury 0. 20 gone, 20 left first half on ABC Sport. Ian Cohen, touchline.
Yeah, good pick-up, Hoffy. I was watching Harry Grant just wander. It almost looks like he's got a problem with his hip. It sort of seems to be in his gates at the moment. He's certainly doing nothing at this stage. Line breaks.
Slick pass there from Coates. Finds Anderson. And he's claimed 5 inside Canterbury territory. Dummy half Grant. Bursts away, shares it with Wishart. On the inside there, kick out. Beat him for pace. Steamrolled Haywood. Still going. Stop 25 out there by Jacob Preston. Played by Wishart to Grant. Now Josh King. It's that ball at speed. And the line as well. Up that left edge of Abbey Park. He'll play it now. 15 out. 20 in from the eastern side. Storm 6. Bulldogs 0 here on ABC Sport. Through hands it comes. Liero to Wishart. Dummies here. Steps in centre field himself. He's claimed there by Hughes. 5 short of that 10-metre line now. Otherwise, only 15 metres out. Now Papenhuyzen shapes to kick. He gets dacked as well. That was the last play around the footy. And as he's tackled, that will be a changeover. Canterbury on the attack. 8 out from their own line. Southern end. Alas, it is Storm 6. Bulldogs 0. 19 and a half left before the break.
Yeah, it's a poor finish to the set from Ryan Papenhuyzen. Almost like got himself about 3 different minds of what he was going to do. And in the end, he just took the tackle. Look, the Bulldogs are holding in here. There's a bit of arm grabbing going on. There's a bit of reaching for the tackle. They're not getting their bodies in front as they were earlier in the game.
0467 920 222. Keep your text coming. Just wait till I read some text, Cody. That'll really distract you. Here they go. Galvin off here. And he's tackled 30 out from that southern line. So I don't read the text when the game's going on, but there's lots that come through. The around the grounds is minimal tonight, Cody, so you can just deal with it, mate. Here they go. Burt up the left-hand side. And he's claimed down low there by Nick Mini. 35 out, 20 in from the western side. Haywood, dummy half. Last play, Canterbury. Galvin kicks him inside 40. It's a very straight kick, though. Bounced out there for Ryan Papenhuyzen. Melbourne 6, Canterbury 0 the scoreline. Storm on the attack. Papenhuyzen on that run is chased down there by Harry Hayes. And he'll be playing it now. 30 out from that northern line. Xavier Coates tries to charge through there on the Jamin Salmon tackle. And he'll play it there. 35 out from his own line. There is Seve. Made light work in there of Haywood. Some defensive reinforcement comes in the form of Hughes. Will come back here, though. It will be a lost ball from Melbourne. So Canterbury's ball just inside the Melbourne half. Storm leads 6-0. 18 left first half. Touchline we go. Ian Cohen.
Yeah, Seve was incorrect. Play the ball there. But I would have thought that they're going to be peppering Xavier Coates' side a lot. He scored 11 tries in the last 8 games here. So he knows how to get to the line here at Amy Park.
So here they go. Canterbury on the attack, 40 out. Fast game to start here, Hoffy.
Yeah, they needed that, the Bulldogs. They needed something to go their way because they have been backtracking big time in defence and they're not making as many metres.
Inside ball, Harry Hayes, and now he's dragged out. 35 out centre field to the Bulldogs. Haywood across to the right-hand side. Crichton, Tracy explodes away here. Offloads here, but it was intercepted by the Storm. And they dominate here, 35 out from their own line. Eli Katoa, only try scorer in the game so far. Plays it there for Grant. Now Papenhuyzen, and now Joe Chan is tackled 40 out, 20 in from the eastern side. Papenhuyzen dummy half. This is play 3 now for the Storm. Utoi Kamanu stands in the tackle of Haywood and also Salmon. 5 short of halfway. 17 left first half here on ABC Sport. Coming to you live from Amy Park in Melbourne. Over halfway they go with Joe Chan. Plays it now, Grant. Fires the pass right to Munster. On to Wishart once more. Katoa over halfway. Takes on Sherry and Kickout and also Burton. They will play at 5 inside Bulldogs territory. Wishart, open side left there for Munster. Last play kick. Hangs there for a fair while for Connor Tracy. Oh, lost it up in the flight there. Picked up by Montoya, but it was lost by Tracy. Costly Bulldogs error. He'll come back here for the Storm. as they look to add to their 6-0 lead. 16 and a half left first half. 0467 920 222. Yippee, Raiders beat the Panthers. Come on, Storm, you have to win this game against the Bulldogs, says Townsville listener. Filthy Phil would like Dogs to win, so it makes it harder for Penrith. Let's see how good the 4-time premiers are. Chris is making a complaint about the golden point rule. Not time for that right now, Chris. I'll get to some of your texts shortly. Here they go, the Storm. They fire up inside that 10-metre line. That was a good run first up there from McDonald. Now it comes away to Munster and Wishart. Wrong foot's Burton. Comes back on the outside now. Sherry couldn't quite get the flick pass there as Sherry and Tracy make the tackle. Grant dummy half. Open side left. Munster. Swats away Salmon. They shape the left-hand side now. Chan off to Coates. Plenty of space for him. Angles his run in field now before Galvin and also Haywood and Preston stop him. 5 out left-hand side of the post. Papenhuyzen dummies the pass on that short side left. But he's tackled there by the markers. Will play it now for Coates. 5 out from that Canterbury line. Storm on the attack. It's play 4. Josh King surrenders there. 9 short of that goal line, southern end. Storm 6, Bulldogs 0 the scoreline. 15 left first half. As Grant shares it now with McDonald. Play there for the Storm. Back to Harry Grant, the skipper. Now Munster. Papenhuyzen. Dummies. That's back on the inside and slides in to score the try. Ryan Papenhuyzen, welcome back. Makes it 10-0 Melbourne. Kick to come here for the home side. 15 left first half on ABC Sport. Ryan Hoffman.
Yeah, the Melbourne Storm, they're looking pretty slick here in attack. Their attack the past couple of weeks have looked a bit stop and go, but it's looking sharp tonight. Great work by Ryan Papenhuyzen. Through the big dummy. Actually, Crichton on the edge here made the tackle on Marion Sebe, and Papenhuyzen just goes straight through. But it's the attack on both sides of the ruck. Tyrant Wishart has given Matt Burton absolute nightmares. I think Matt Burton's missed him about 4 or 5 times. So it's going one side, hitting back the other. The Melbourne Storm are just breaking down the Dogs' defence.
Touchline we go, Ian Cohen.
Yeah, I said it was a little bit blustery up there, and I reckon Connor Tracy just got the radar wrong. The other thing is this packed Melbourne Storm ground at this end, crowd at this end of the ground. Plenty of whoa, and all of a sudden he put it down, and I'm suggesting that you're going to hear a lot more of that in the effects because it is a little blustery.
Barnaby from Toowoomba says, how good was that last game? Yeah, Canberra 20, Penrith 16. Hoping for the same tonight, Storm and Golden Point. Answer Levine, thank you for your texts. Jeff from Canberra says, Melbourne had much better for and against than the Raiders, so if Melbourne lose tonight, they can still get on a premiership. I think Canberra's run home will get them through there. Yeah, so mathematically possible there, Jeff, but I think Canberra are just about there.
Yeah, I think so too.
25 out here. Now it's a left-hand side of the field here for Nick Mooney. 5 in from the eastern touchline. He's 1 from 1 so far tonight. This to be 12-0. And over it goes. He's 2 from 2. Storm 12, Bulldogs 0 here on ABC Sport. Grimes, he says, evening Spriggy Hoff and Ian, Melbourne by a million. Bulldogs will run out of gas. Looks that way so far. And someone else says, how's Marcelo's, inverted commas, neck looking? I heard this may be a cover for some more delicate surgery. There was an unusual thing there about the NRL.com injury list, which, for those that missed it, showed for some reason that it was a circumcision, not a neck injury for Marcelo Montoya. Anyway, save me, Hoffy.
Yeah, I tell you, it was a bad couple of minutes there for Connor Tracy. He had the offload that got to Melbourne Storm the ball, and then the knock on. He's going to make sure he gets his next couple of plays right.
So here they go, the Storm, out of their own end with Josh King. Thank you, Filthy Phil. Joy says, come on the Storm. Joy says, hello to Andrew if you're listening. You bet we're thinking of you, mate. Yeah, I know you all are. Andrew will continue to recover. There is Papenhuyzen tries to recover the footy. There was time off blown there by Adam G, the referee. He'll play at 20 out now, rather than Papenhuyzen. Comes back to Alec McDonald. Beats the tackle at kick out. But he runs laterally here and he's met by Bird. Still 20 out from their own line here, the Melbourne Storm. Katoa scored the first try of the game. Eliesa Katoa, 30 out now, the Storm. On their second last play. Angled run now from Trent Liero, and he stops in a 3-man tackle. 32 out from his own line now. Grant swings it across. Last play, running kick from Munster. That left foot drop punt there for Tracy, who dropped one earlier. And that's why the crowd was sort of rising with the Canterbury fullback, who brings it back into the defensive line, 35 out from his own line. Southern end. Storm 12, Bulldogs nil, 12 and a half left first half.
Yeah, they must have had a good chat. Stephen Crichton must have get him behind the post after that last try. They really needed to shape up defensive, and they did. They kept Melbourne Storm inside their 30 off a kick-off set, and now they're enjoying some pretty good field position.
Halfway they go here, the Bulldogs on this third play. Playing it there is Jacob Carraz, the winger. Now Kurt Mann in the action, coming off the bench. Burton tries to dart back in there on the inside of the tackler, Katoa. And played to Haywood. Flat ball from dummy half, finds Tupanua. So it's his first run there off the bench. Last played in round 20, had the hamstring setback. 20 out on this last play. They've run the footy. Burton goes to Montoya, goes on the toe. It's come off a couple of Storm defenders and out over the western touchline, barely a metre shy of the corner post. So this should be Canterbury ball. 11:40 left in the first half. Storm 12, Bulldogs nil. Let's go to the touchline. Ian Cohen.
Yeah, it was Ryan Papenhuyzen just got the size 10 in the way and managed to get it out over the sideline. But that was the best opportunity the Bulldogs have had for probably the last 10 or 15 minutes.
So play the ball here for Canterbury. Haywood sets it right-hand side of the field. Galvin back on the inside now for Harry Hayes. Second-year first-grade player. Debuted last year in Townsville. 5 out, right-hand side of the uprights. Tupanua received a low ball there from Haywood. Tackled by McDonald and also Liero. Meter out here, right-hand side of the post. Bulldogs' best look of the game. 6 more here for the ruck infringement. So it's fed back now from Crichton to Galvin. A full set for the Bulldogs. 8 out for Melbourne's line, northern end. Storm 12, Canterbury nil the scoreline. 10:50 left in the first half. Been a lightning quick half of footy. After a thriller earlier in Mudgee, we saw the Canberra Raiders beat the Panthers. Man, danced across the defensive line. There was a couple of passes here. It's been lost there under pressure. And that was spot on there from Nick Mini, and Mini helped force the error. He's going to say it was actually Mini who knocked it down first.
Yeah.
So back here for the Bulldogs.
Oh, it'd be worth a challenge for the Melbourne Storm, but it doesn't look like they are. I think the referee's saying he tried to offload it and got knocked down by Melbourne. I thought it was in the act of making a tackle. Danger signs for Melbourne. Stephen Crichton is really getting his hands on the ball a lot more for the Bulldogs, which is just giving the Melbourne Storm's defence just something else to look at.
Scrum feed for the Bulldogs. 15 out for Melbourne's line in front of the Billy Soda stand here at Amy Park. 12-0 the home side's lead. I'll feed it left-hand side of the scrum. Go around the grounds very shortly. Tracy up the right-hand side here and met by Munster and also Harry Grant. 9 metres out, right-hand side of the posts. Haywood finds Galvin. Back on the inside now again for Harry Hayes. And Hayes is met head-on there by McDonald. There's play 3 now. Galvin in loaded Tupanua. And he almost steamrolled Eli Katoa in the process. Haywood dummy half. Sets up behind him. Man, shape to the right-hand side now here Canterbury. Tracy, good run. Shakes off Survey. No, Survey gets him eventually. Deep in that northeastern corner of the ground. 6 out here for the Bulldogs. Attacking Melbourne's line, northern end. Haywood to Galvin. Again, they shift it to the left-hand side. Burton takes on Meany and comes off second best. Canterbury roll on here. Last play, 15 out. First receiver is Galvin. Dinky kick goes high towards that line. Batted back by Preston. Still alive here though for Melbourne to win the footy back. And now Coates is tackled 10 out from his own line at northern end of Amy Park. It's the home side who leads here. Melbourne 12, Canterbury nil. 8:50 left first half.
Yeah, some good football there. Good attack by the Bulldogs, but the Melbourne Storm defence is too strong. Smart little kick out the end there. Not going all the way to the wing where winger has to go. Carraz has to go up against Coates. They just put it on the 3-man's head trying to get Stephen Crichton, but too many Storm jumpers around.
Here goes Kamitha off the bench. Tackled and playing it now. And a quick dozen there for Nick Meany. It's already last play here. In fact, it was second last play. It must have kicked early from inside the 40. Wobbles down there on the chest of Connor Tracy. And he's met head-on by a wall of purple defence there. Survey and Munster, 35 out from their own line here. Canterbury is where they start this new set. Carraz gains a quick 6 or 7 metres. And now Haywood will swing it across open side left. Montoya takes on Grant. He was forced back 8 metres short of the halfway line here for the returning winger. Haywood off the deck now. Scoops it and finds man to the right-hand side. He's been criticised, I think, Kurt Mann this year. Had a good Origin series, debut series for Queensland. Hasn't been so good at Clubland this year. Galvin off to Crichton. Now Burton. To the left edge they go. Sherry takes on Meany and also Anderson. Run down there on that right edge defence by Melbourne. 15 out. This is last play Canterbury. Couple of passes. Now a kick from Galvin. Up there again. I think Burton missed it. It falls there for Wishart. He knocks it back. And first to it there is Katoa. So Melbourne are on the attack once more. Fear 12-0's their lead.
That was the most bizarre thing. Wishart was on the ground with the ball and he swiped it back and nearly got picked up again by the Bulldogs. It was lucky Ellie Katoa was there on the spot.
7 left in this first half. Let's get the Kozo very shortly. You're with Brett Sprigg alongside Ryan Hoffman. 300 gamer, premiership winner. As here they go, Anderson for the Storm. Tackled 25 out. Grant off to Munster. And again, it's just a fast centre-field run here from the Melbourne 5'8". Wearing number 1 tonight. Of course, as was the plan for him to play fullback again. Papenhuyzen was the late in. He was jersey number 21 tonight for the Storm. 5 short of the halfway. Last play here for Melbourne. Wishart on that kick. High, long downfield there for the wing of Connor Tracy. The fullback was out on the edge and now brings it in centre field where he's met 30 out from his own line. 20 in from the eastern side down to Ian Cohen, the touchline.
Yeah, Connor Tracy hasn't been convincing so far, but the other thing is Crichton's really trying to get himself into the game and they look potent when he's lurking.
Storm 12, Bulldogs 0 here on ABC Sports. 6 minutes and 20 seconds left in this opening 40. Exhilarating pace this first half of top 4 combatants, second versus third. The top 2 spot up for grabs still after Canberra all but assured the minor premiership with that golden point win in Mudgee earlier. Kurt Mann offloads back here for Galvin. Still play 3 here for the Bulldogs and now kick out. Steps on the inside there of Wishart. Burns away from Grant. And the veteran back rower feeds it back now for Galvin. Still alive here as it goes through more sets of hands. Harry Hayes to Preston. There's that spread defence down that right-hand side as it comes to Carraz. Takes on Seve. Gets rid of him. Takes on Munster. They're 25 out now. Loose ball bounces there for Tracy. Preston gathers here for the Bulldogs. He shrugs away one tackle easily. Takes on Papenhuyzen. And now he's eventually stopped. 15 out from that northern line. So a couple of plays left here for the Bulldogs who trail 12-0. Galvin runs now. Takes on Wishart and also Katoa. 8 metres out, left-hand side of the post. This is last play Canterbury. Burton, they run the footy again. Back to Haywood and now Galvin. All the way back here across for Preston. That'll force them all the way back because he has to go and retrieve it. And now the back rower can kick for the corner. Papenhuyzen lurking back there, the fullback for Melbourne. Puts them back in possession and he's tackled 10 out from his own line. They lead 12-0. 5 left in the first half on ABC Sport. Ryan Hoffman.
It's been all Bulldogs the last 10 minutes. It really has been. They're dominating field position. They're making a couple of line breaks. They just can't seem to break the Melbourne Storm line. Melbourne had this period a bit earlier and they came up with 2 tries.
4:40 left in this. The ball has barely been able to play. It's been just in play the entire time here. Very few delays and just fast end-to-end stuff here at Amy Park. As here goes the Storm through Anderson. Play there to Grant. Looks right but goes left to Munster. Kicks from inside the 40 as you heard there. Second last play. Bouncing down towards the corner and it does find touch. A metre out from the corner post. That was exemplary from Cameron Munster. The best 2020 you'll see.
That's a big time play. The Melbourne Storm needed that. They were really on the back foot. Bulldogs were all over them. That is a game changer right there.
Touchline we go, Ian Cohen.
That was amazing. Tracy didn't put enough urgency into it early and then the ball just tracked away from him. It was on the trajectory heading right to the corner post and he just couldn't retrieve it. He needed to put some early steps in.
It was actually smart work by Harry Grant. He showed to Wishart and Tracy just followed the dummy.
So, the Storm tap. 10 metres out here, attacking that southern line. McDonald with the early run now plays it for Grant. It's lost by Kamakamitha. And went backwards, but bounced on by Canterbury anyway. On the attack they go. Burton to Sherry. Left edge dangerous. He steamrolls Anderson. Intercepted there by Katoa. Knocked down. It's going to be 6 more Bulldogs as Burton's arrived to the football. So 40 out now. Full set for the Bulldogs inside Melbourne's half northern end. Flat ball travels across in the field, tracing to Galvin. Almost picked off there by Sev. 80s with Crichton, the Bulldogs skipper. And he does surrender here. 8 metres inside Melbourne territory. It's the Storm who lead 12-0. 3.5 left in this first half on ABC Sport. Man, dummies, and Grant on him like a backpack is playing it now. Kurt Man, 35 outs in the field. Haywood, a little dash and a dart, and now the pass off there to Harry Hayes. His 21st game this year. So it's his second year of first grade footy. Man onto Burton. Kick out, almost through the gap. Feeds it back to Burton. Right hand side shift here again now for Canterbury. Kurt Mann looks to wrong foot the defence there, but he's stopped eventually down there by Mini. 15 outs in the field. Melbourne 12, Canterbury 0 the scoreline. It's fed across here. Intercepted by Anderson, who has in turn knocked on, I think. Ref Adam G. Is just saying that it was dragged back by Anderson. It will be a Canterbury scrum.
It was a diving effort.
Yeah.
Burton's down again.
Burton is down again here.
It was a dive. It was an intercept that Anderson knocked in the air, and he dived down to get. He thought he knocked it back before the ball hit the ground, but the referee overruled it.
So it will be Canterbury's ball here, Koza, but some concern now for the Bulldogs 5'8".
Yeah, certainly was. I think it was Tui Kamakamitha who was right in under the rib cage and certainly made him earn it. So he's still on the ground, is Burton at this stage. But Grant Anderson was pretty unlucky there because I reckon he almost did hit it before it hit terra firma and got down to ground. But Burton, we know he's pretty tough. He's already had a knee injury early on and now he's up and on his feet again.
2:25 left in the first half at Amy Park. Across the road at the MCG, Collingwood 46 leads Melbourne 33. And it's the third quarter. In the second quarter at Adelaide Oval, Port Adelaide 14, trails Gold Coast 24. That's the around the grounds. The cricket, I'll give you that score in full at halftime, surely, because it's a bit of a longer thing, all the details there. So Galvin feeds it left-hand side of the scrum. Haywood off here again now to Bronson Sherry. Interesting stat about Bronson Sherry and a couple of his teammates. By the way, it comes through centre field. Haywood, inside ball to Panua. He backs his way into McDonald and also Aliero now played 8 metres out left-hand side of the post. Haywood, Galvin back on the inside now for Kurt Mann, and he's stopped down low by Papenhuyzen, up top by McDonald there for the Storm. Haywood off to Galvin again, and that was deemed forward by referee Adam G. And Melbourne keep a 12-0 lead here. Minute 45 left in this opening half. Get to your text shortly as well. 0467 920 222, Hoffy.
Look, the Melbourne Storm have put themselves under a bit of pressure in this second half with a couple of errors, but they backed it up with their defence. Both teams have been pretty good with the football, but I tell you, you back up your errors, and the Melbourne Storm have been fantastic. But interesting to see, Croydon's been playing a lot more fullback inside the Melbourne Storm, say 30-metre line. So they're definitely looking to get him on the ball a lot more, the Bulldogs.
And Matt Burton staying out there for now as well, despite a couple of early big hits. He was on the end of. This time he tries to make the tackle on the ball carrier in Anderson. Melbourne winger, play at 12 out to his own line. Minute and 2 seconds left in this opening 40. Plays an exhilarating pace here, this top four blockbuster at a packed Amy Park in Melbourne. Meany tries to bring it away, right-hand side of the scrum. Takes on Mann. And now he's taken 25 out. Played to Grant. He was the hero, of course, last week. He fooled them all in that Golden Point try against Penrith. Now Munster hit the deck as he got the pass away. We'll come back here. Someone's being penalised. And we'll be going Melbourne's way. Didn't quite see as it was a long time after the Preston out here who... Oh, yeah. Comes off the line. Preston and nails Cam Munster and rightly penalised.
Yeah, it's a bit cynical from Preston. He didn't need to do that. It wasn't like Cameron Munster still had the ball. But look, it's just given Melbourne Storm another chance to get over their end, and we'll see what they can do in the last 30 seconds.
Back the touchline, Ian Cohen.
Yeah, Bulldogs will be really disappointed to have a donut there on the scoreline going in 12-0. They wouldn't have expected that coming here, and they'll be disappointed because they have had opportunities.
Swinging around through centre field here, the Storm on that halfway line.
Lose 10 metres.
So, kick out, makes the tackle on Katoa. And 40 out here, Melbourne. 14 seconds left in the half, which they have controlled. 12-0 is that scoreline. Tries to Eli Katoa and Ryan Papenhuyzen in the first half. Last play, kick trickles down here for Connor Tracy, and he's content to run the footy over not far away from our man Koza on the western side. So Melbourne 12, Canterbury 0 is the scoreline here at Amy Park, with those try scorers Katoa in the 15th and Papenhuyzen in the 24th. Nick Mini is 2 from 2. They've actually had less of the ball, Melbourne, so 59% possession versus 51 for what it's worth there. Completion rates are similar, 86% Melbourne, 84% for the Bulldogs, and across this second half, or the first half so far, line breaks 4-2 Canterbury. So opportunities have been there, Hoffy, for them. They've had 9-2 offloads for what it's worth, and the penalty count is 3-0 Melbourne's way. There have been a further 2-1 ruck infringements. In fact, make it now 3-2 if you count inside the 10, those ruck infringements. And as far as I mentioned those penalties, there was a player placed on report, Stephen Crichton, in that first half as well. What did you make of the opening half here in Melbourne?
Yeah, look, I think it's been a stage throughout that first half. Both teams had the ascendancy. Both teams had hop. The difference was Melbourne Storm converted that field position and that ball. They converted it into 2 tries, and the Bulldogs hadn't been able to. Look, it wasn't through bad attack by the Bulldogs. It's just through outstanding defence from the Melbourne Storm. It's about how your team defends errors. Melbourne Storm have managed to do that. The Bulldogs haven't.
Ian Cohen, your thoughts from your vantage point there on the touchline?
Yeah, just watching Harry Grant talk to the referees there at some stage. I think he may have been talking about potentially the Grant Anderson situation. But look, Storm will take that 12-0 going into the halftime break and going into the sheds. Obviously a packed house here, so standing ovation for Melbourne Storm as they make their way off. But as I said, Bulldogs will be disappointed. They had plenty of chances. They did come back into it. Their completion rate was down in the 70s. They managed to get it up towards 85 and 90. So they're back in the game. They just need to be able to breach the line at some stage, and they're unable to do it so far.
All this after earlier in Mudgee, Canberra 20 beat Penrith 16. Kyo Weeks with a game-winning try after a fantastic Ethan Strange run, which set it all up. But that does, as you say, all but secure the one premiership for them, given they, well, you can't. Form line's been nothing in this competition this year, but with their run home, more fancied, I suppose, to at least win one of those last 2 games against West Tigers and the Dolphins, whereas the Storm, they're in the hunt absolutely for the top spot. They've got the Roosters here next week at home and then Brisbane away.
Yeah, I think the minor premiership is great, and I definitely think the Raiders do it, but the key is the top 2.
Yes.
I think being
2 home finals.
The first final at home, and knowing if you win that, you've got the prelim at home, that goes a long way to setting yourselves up in the final. Be interesting to see what Ricky Stewart does with his team. Like, if it looks like they do, will he be resting players? Is there some players who have played a lot of football that he wants to give a freshen up before the finals?
It's been a great year for the Green Machine, that's for sure. 12-0 the scoreline here. 0467920222 is the SMS. Jeff in Sunshine says Bulldogs really are a bunch of grubs. Okay, Jeff. Grimesy asks, Stephen Crichton's playing 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 13. What's doing?
I think that's pretty accurate. He's, especially inside the Melbourne Storm 30, he's getting his hands on the pill a lot.
Victor in Queanbeyan says, Cozy is kidding himself. No way Paps has size 10 shoes. 9 at best. Yeah, good on you, Victor.
A children's 9.
Yeah, Jeff sent a few. Jeff's not having a good time there with the Bulldogs. He sent a few messages he's not too happy with about the Bulldogs. Morning, team. Mick, good morning. Mick from Rockhampton. Might have to keep this to ourselves. The new NRL team, PNG, the NG Chompers. The Chompers, the only team. That sounds... I don't understand. He's trying to do some marketing here for the PNG team. The Chompers, the only team that can beat them and eat them. I don't understand what that is. Is that an incorrect? I didn't know. Is that, yeah, okay, that's not a good thing. Sorry, I thought you were pointing to the thing. Not good, Mick. 0467920222. Robbie from Esperance, listening to the cricket. Yes, the cricket in the second ODI, Australia 570. In fact, on that scoreline, 5 for 173. So a slight collapse there in the run chase. Inglis 84 not out off 70 balls. Aaron Hardy is 10 not out, and they are chasing 277 in that second ODI, and that was after earlier. As I say, South Africa 277, and the pick of the bowlers in there was Adam Zampa with 3 wickets, Labuschagne with 2, Ellis 2, Bartlett 2, 0467920222. I will definitely pre-read all these texts from now on because we get some idiots who send stupid stuff on there, and in fact I may put it away for the night. The 0467920222 is the SMS number. Earlier, Canberra 20, Penrith 16. It's 12-0 the scoreline here. Melbourne leading Canterbury at half time. Right now, time for ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Clive Hunter. Police have charged the mother of a newborn baby whose body was discovered in a stormwater drain. Lily Cristante has this report from Perth.
On Monday afternoon, maintenance workers conducting routine checks and clearing of storm drains found the boy's body on LaSalle Road in Alexander Heights. Police say they found the mother with the assistance of the community. Today, police have charged the 31-year-old woman with concealing the birth of a deceased child. Police say the woman is continuing to receive appropriate support and medical care. She's due to face the Perth Magistrates Court at a later date.
Education ministers have agreed to create a national register of early childhood educators in response to recent allegations of abuse in the sector. Political reporter Nicole Hegarty has more.
State, territory and federal education ministers agreed to create the National Register of Workers, which will include their contact and employment details and if they're subject to any investigations. They also agreed to trial CCTV cameras in centres. Federal Education Minister Jason Clare says the measures will help to restore faith in the sector.
Doing the work that is necessary to rebuild confidence for mums and dads.
Shadow Federal Education Minister John O'Doniam has backed the plan.
These steps are welcome, they are necessary and they must be implemented urgently.
Initial work on the measures will begin in coming months.
And as part of that plan, up to 300 childcare centres are expected to take part in the security camera trial. It'll examine where cameras should be placed, who holds the data, and how to protect the footage from being hacked. But the Independent Education Union's Carol Matthews says staff conditions are just as important as surveillance.
Questions about staff vacancies, high staff turnover, high engagement of casual staff, employing lesser qualified staff, are all matters which affect the quality of care. We think that it's really important that the pay and conditions of staff are given much more focus.
Overseas, former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra has been acquitted of royal defamation charges following accusations he insulted the monarchy. He denies infringing the laws in an interview 10 years ago and has repeatedly expressed loyalty to Thailand's king. Mr. Shinawatra's lawyer says the former PM is the real victim.
The court reached a verdict to dismiss the case against the defendant. I've said this before, and I still think the same, that he's the victim here. And now he's proven himself through legal means, which led to the outcome today.
The case is the first of many to come involving him and his daughter, who's the current Prime Minister. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has issued an order to resume negotiations for a peace deal in Gaza after securing approval to expand the war there. The BBC's Yolande Nell reports.
It's very likely that pressing ahead with this operation to capture all of Gaza City is going to make it very difficult to achieve a new ceasefire and hostage release deal. And some of the relatives of the living hostages have really expressed their frustration, their disappointment with all of this. The Prime Minister didn't specifically reject what Hamas has agreed to from the regional mediators, this phased deal, but really this does amount to a rejection of that offer.
Meanwhile, a UN-backed body responsible for monitoring food security says famine has been found in Gaza for the first time. John O'Wakely has the details.
In a 59-page report, the UN's IPC says the famine it's identified in Gaza is entirely man-made and can be halted and reversed. The IPC is a global initiative of UN agencies, aid groups and governments, and is the primary mechanism the international community uses to conclude whether a famine is happening. It's escalated its classification to Phase 5, the highest and worst level of its acute food insecurity scale. It says famine exists in the Gaza Governorate, which includes Gaza City and its surrounds. Israel says it firmly rejects the IPC's report, labeling it false and biased, citing methodological issues.
And organisers of a pro-Palestinian protest in Brisbane have agreed to take a different route after being banned from walking across the Story Bridge on Sunday. A Queensland magistrate yesterday banned the march across the bridge due to safety concerns. The group called Justice for Palestine and Police have agreed to an alternative route from the city to Musgrave Park in South Brisbane. And Samoa's schools will reopen in September after being closed for a month due to the country's dengue fever outbreak. In the past week, Samoa has recorded more than 1,000 new cases, with 50 people receiving care in hospital. And that's ABC News.
ABC iView. Lose yourself in gripping entertainment. Somebody here. Like with the family next door. Know something. Darby and Joan. I'm going to find out who did this to you. And Bay of Fires.
What the...
Always free, always gripping. ABC iView.
ABC sports coverage of the 2025 NRL Premiership.
Here's Wishart, dummies the pass here. Now to Katoa, and he can go the rest of the way. Oh, Tracy chased him, might have got him. The ball was grounded, and that's a try for Melbourne. Not quite there for Connor Tracy in defence. And Nelly Katoa runs the footy in for the first points of the game. Play there for the Storm. Back to Harry Grant, the skipper. Now Munster, Papenhuyzen, dummies. Darts back on the inside and slides in to score the try. Ryan Papenhuyzen, welcome back. Makes it 10-0 Melbourne. Munster, catch him inside the 40 as you heard there. Second last play, bouncing down towards the corner, and it does find touch. A metre out from the corner post. That was exemplary from Cameron Munster. The best 2020 you'll see.
The 2025 NRL Premiership.
On your radio, ABC Sport Digital Radio.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Melbourne 12, Canterbury 0 here at a packed Amy Park on this Friday evening on ABC Sport. The second of our two massive games on this Friday in round 25 this National Rugby League season. After earlier in Mudgee, that was phenomenal, Hoffy. Canberra 20, Penrith 16. Nathan Cleary's field goal attempt bounced off the left-hand upright, back in the field of play. Canberra roll on, big break from Ethan Strange, and then Kyle Weeks finishes it off. Fantastic finish for the Green Machine.
And how great was it? And it was in a country venue like Mudgee. I mean, that was number one. It was such a high quality game of football, and then the finish. I mean, you couldn't have scripted that. Steven Spielberg couldn't have scripted it better.
So Canberra, as we keep saying, that all but affirms their position as the likely honour premier. They are, as it currently stands, 2 games clear, with games to come against West Tigers and the Dolphins in the final 2 rounds. The Storm, of course, if they win here, they stay within a game. They have a superior for and against, for sure, but the Storm have the Roosters back here at home next Friday, and then Brisbane. Now, they could win both of those games anyway. The Raiders have to lose one of those to those 2 opponents they should beat in that final fortnight, as you say. Do they have enough breathing space? Does Ricky Stewart have enough of an allowance there to maybe make a few changes if they've got that? As you say, on a premiership matters little. Finishing top 2 is where they're guaranteed.
And it's also keeping that momentum. Like Ricky Stewart's obviously got something really special with his group, and he wants to keep that momentum going. So he may decide not to rest players, but you also got to think a lot of these guys haven't played much finals football before. They've got quite a young side, so it'd be interesting to see what he does. But he's had a tremendous season, Ricky Stewart.
So that's what's to play for here as well. Finishing top 2. If the Bulldogs can hit back in the second half, of course they remain in the hunt there for a home final in week 1. Of course, you finish top 4, you get a home final somewhere regardless. But those 2 home finals for the top 2 finishes is what's the most important thing. Of course, the best possible path to the premiership. Around the grounds in the AFL, Melbourne now leads Collingwood 59-54 in the third quarter there. Meanwhile, in Adelaide, Gold Coast 32 leads Port Adelaide 27. And in the cricket, Australia now 6 down for 175. Josh Inglis unbeaten 86. That's in the 34th over of the run chase, chasing 278 to win. Adam Zampa with 3 wickets early on the pick of the bowlers for the Australians. And of course, you can hear full coverage ball by ball offie via the ABC Listen app with Quentin Hull and the team there in Mackay. So it feels weird having cricket in August.
Just about to say
I don't mind late September when you've got fewer footy games on because the finals and there's a few things to fill in the gaps, but it just feels like it's look, we've had some fun covering it, but the T20 T20s and the one days, and
throw a bit of cricket on there every now and then.
We cover it all.
There's plenty of cricket going on. Every time you flick on a subscription sports thing, you get cricket.
The Dogs make their way out here at Amy Park. What do they have to do and improve on in this second half if they are to get themselves back in the game, Hoffy?
Yeah, as I said, the Bulldogs haven't done a lot wrong. The Melbourne Storm defence has been superior, but what they haven't done is capitalised on the opposition errors, and that they haven't defended theirs as well. So there'll be a lot of positivity coming in from Cameron Ciraldo, I feel, but I just think it'll be a bit like water on a rock. Just keep chipping away at the Melbourne Storm. They'll break eventually, but don't give up hope.
So the Bulldogs, to say, it's all been about, I guess, consistency, discovering that in this past little bit. That stat I mentioned, Hoffy. So Montoya comes back into the side this week, the other Bulldogs winger. He's on 8 tries for the year. Jacob Corral's on 8 tries, his other winger, and Bronson Sherry, a centre, also on 8 tries. They are the joint leading try scorers for the Bulldogs. If you go through the list of try scorers in the competition all up, you won't find a Bulldog until position 50 on that table, which I think is Bronson Sherry from memory. So you could argue it's a better spread of try scorers, but there are, and Jacob Preston as well, by the way, also got 8 tries. So there's been no, I suppose, standout try scorer. Probably a good thing in some ways, but it speaks to, I suppose, maybe a lack of attack in some ways for the Bulldogs.
Or are they spreading their attack around? I was actually about to say, it just shows that they don't have a favourite side of the field they attack. So some teams have an edge where that's their go-to edge, but for the Bulldogs, they like showing both sort of sides of the football field. So it's certainly an interesting stat, especially when you see Eli Katoa has scored 11 tries this year.
Their for and against is a fair way behind both the Storm, of course, and the Raiders, but still is the third best of those teams in the top 8. Broncos are not far behind them, Panthers as well. Out come the Storm. Here's the kick-off for the second half as Papenhuyzen sends it deep down towards that northern end of Amy Park. Storm 12, lead the Bulldogs 0 here on ABC Sport. You're with Brett Sprigg, Ryan Hoffman, down to Ian Coe on the touchline very shortly as it's played here by Harry Hayes. Play it 15 out from his own line. Swung across here, right-hand side of the park. Now Montoya, there is that man again. Roll back for Haywood, and now Tupanua. Those are the names back tonight for the Bulldogs, Tupanua and also Montoya. Played here, Haywood. Goes to the right-hand side. Galvin on to Preston, and he's brought to ground there by Seve and Liero on that logo, which reads Country Footy Round in the NRL. Kick out, up that left-hand side, a half break before he's taken down low by Eli Katoa and Mini up top. Played 5 inside Melbourne territory. Haywood feeds it to Galvin. Off a step, high ball in the air, launching Papenhuyzen. Takes a pretty clean catch here, 12 out from his own line, and he's set upon there by Sherry and Burton. He'll play it 15 out from his own line, southern end. No change to our half-time score, early stages second half. Storm 12, Bulldogs 0 inside these first 70 seconds. First out of the second half here for the home side as Munster offloads to Coates. Plays it now Grant. Off to Tui Kamikamitha, and now bounced off Bronson Sherry. 30 out, 20 in from the eastern side. Grant. The right-hand side they go here, the Storm, and Meany is claimed 40 out from his own line. Open side left as Wishart drills a kick downfield, finds the chest of Carraz. Dogs back on the attack, and Hoffy, this second half is just as fast as the first half was. Carraz swats away Chan, put down there by Liero, 5 short of the halfway.
Yeah, certainly the Dogs have carried on their great line speed with what they showed certainly at the start of that first half, and early days in the second half they're certainly winning the field position battle. Second tackle inside the Melbourne Storm half.
Play there by Crichton. Haywood across to the left-hand side, and now again here for Harry Hayes. Taken down, 35 out, 20 in from the eastern side of Amy Park, where again the Dogs are on the attack on play 4. Man, low flat ball for Tupanua, made the break, offloads back to Galvin, takes on Papenhuyzen, and he's sandwiched between Papenhuyzen and Kamikamitha, and he'll play it there, Galvin, 15 out to the field. Haywood, back here to Man, darts left and right, shares the pass to Burton, they shape the left-hand side, kick out, Meany him around the legs, and stops the big second rower. Kick out will play it deep in that southeastern corner of the ground. Montoya dummy half, Burton's kick charged down by Papenhuyzen, but it's team 6 more Bulldogs, so it was tipped on here back to the Dogs, and now it's Haywood. Off to Galvin. Inside ball to Panua. Straightens his run there towards McDonald and also Grant. 5 out from the Southern uprights. And 6 more here for the ruck infringement. So Galvin back on the inside now for Preston. And now collared by Papenhuyzen. 3.5 metres out now, right-hand side of the post. Back-to-back set restarts. A full set now as Grant was tussling there with Preston. Haywood goes from dummy half. And is there a grounding? I fancy there is. He had to beat McDonald and also Papenhuyzen, but the hooker, Bailey Haywood, scores his first try of the year. And Canterbury have their first try of the game. 12-4, kick to come Bulldogs, 4 goal in second half. But I'm confused because did he not call charge down? Or did he say it was just ricocheted away off?
It was played out. Melbourne Storm came out, put pressure on the kicker, and hit the Melbourne Storm going for a charge down. The Bulldogs get it. 6 again.
Okay, so there we go. So 12-4. 4 minutes played, second half here on ABC Sport. Touchline, Ian Cohen.
Yeah, it certainly put some spice into the game. You would have thought that the Bulldogs would need to go in within this first 10 minutes out of the shed. So we're talking about giving away too much easy work down the middle, and Storm were capitalising on that. Bulldogs were happy with their competitiveness. For Melbourne Storm, they were pleased with their defence, but they also were concerned about offloads. It looks like this might be getting reviewed. We'll have a look at it.
This is the reverse angle. We didn't see it.
The referee was right there.
He was pretty confident too, as Adam G. Haywood, see it from behind the post here. You can't quite see the ball actually get grounded over the chalk, but
the referee was right there, so you'd think he'd have the best sort of view.
It's only Haywood's second career try, his first of this season, played every game this year. Here's Stephen Crichton, slight angle right-hand side of the field, 11 metres out here for the Bulldogs to make it 12-6. And he makes no mistake. Hot start in the second half for the Bulldogs. 5 gone in their second 40 on ABC Sport. Ryan Hoffman.
That's what the Bulldogs needed to do. They needed to convert some of this pressure and some of the work they've been doing into points, because they were just banging their head up against the wall against the Melbourne Storm defence there for a while. So they've converted it, and they came off the back of their great line speed and getting really good field position.
By the way, I'm back on air tomorrow at 2 p.m. with Luke Lewis, Michael Carianis, and we'll have Ko Weeks, the hero for the Raiders, joining us tomorrow in that hour of pre-game coverage before we call Manly and the Dolphins at Brookvale Oval. DCE's 350th. 12-6 the scoreline here. So the Bulldogs are back in a big way. Papenhuyzen's kickoff down towards Burton, and now charging back into that defensive line with a big run there, and now playing up the Bulldogs is Harry Hayes. 15 out from his own line. Supanua provides some punch up the right-hand side of the field. Chan meets him in concert with Munster. Play it, 25 out, 20 in from the western side. Mann takes on Chan and also Liero. On play 3, make it 4 now for the Bulldogs. Tupanua stands in the tackle of McDonald. He's flattened Kamikamitha, who's still down.
He's not in a good way, Tui.
Yeah, Tui Kamikamitha just getting up to his feet now. 6 minutes played, second half here on ABC Sports. Storm 12, Bulldogs 6. Let's head to the touchline. Ian Cohen.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on Tui here. He was a bit slow to recover his senses at this stage, and he stayed down for a fair period of time. So I would suggest that will be assessed, and I would suggest he's about to make his way from the ground. Tui, obviously, and he's been playing an important role for Melbourne Storm, but yeah, it was very slow to get up.
Just quickly around the grounds, AFL. Melbourne 65 leads Collingwood 55 in the third quarter at the MCG, and Adelaide, Gold Coast 38, Port Adelaide 30. Someone's on the port here.
It's Harry Grant for a shoulder charge off the kickoff.
And going for 10. So, the Melbourne skipper, Sinbin, that earlier shoulder charge.
From 4 tackles ago. So yes. we're on tackle.
Oh, seeing it now on Harry Hayes.
But if it's tackle 4, they've gone back 4 tackles to give a penalty and put someone in the bin.
And in the meantime, Kamikamitha's come into some mischief in that set.
I don't think we'll see Kamikamitha again tonight, but How do you go back 4 tackles to give a penalty and put someone in the bin?
There was a game last week which Moses was put on report, I think, and it was like minutes previous. And they actually asked the ref, what was it for? He said, I don't know, I got told that you got on report for something.
Yeah, but to bin someone...
the sin bin's an extra layer of that, isn't it? But Harry Grant, so they're down a man here, the Storm, for the next 10 minutes. Harry Grant off the field. They lead 12-6. Can the Bulldogs capitalise here? Haywood, dummy half. On the halfway, man. Wrap around ball on the inside for Satili Tupanua. And he's put on his back. 5 inside Melbourne territory. Melbourne 12, Canterbury 6 the scoreline. 6 go on second half. Man back to Galvin. Up that left-hand side. He shaped a pass, but then straights his run there into Pezzett, who's getting his first go out there for the Storm tonight. Inside ball comes to Harry Hayes. And he's stopped there by Katoa, 20 outs in the field. Haywood goes from dummy half. Scored a try a second ago. He's inside 8 metres here from that southern line. Last play, Canterbury, who trailed 12-6. Haywood off to Galvin. And now Tracy tipped on cleverly from Crichton to Carraz. Darts back here on Papenhuyzen and grounded in the corner. Jacob Carraz. There was a purple wall defence coming at him in the corner. But Carraz slams it down. His 9th try of the year. And we may have scores level here very soon. 12-10, Canterbury kick to come here inside these first 7 minutes of the second half, Ryan Hoffman.
Yeah, there's a tip on there by Stephen Crichton. I need to check the replay. Might have gone forward, but they kept on playing the Bulldogs. A great finish there by Carraz. He had 1,000 players, Melbourne Storm players all over him, but he just thought, yep, that tip on by Crichton was all good. But that's great strength to be able to put that ball over the line.
That tip on from Crichton was about 0.055 milliseconds, and he's just... So, hang on, they're cheering here. Did we see Carraz go over?
Check his foot.
Drag.
Oh, no, that's an easy try.
No, he's good. He's that's cheering for here.
Yeah, no, that's a definite try.
Liam Cohen on the touchline.
Yeah, well, they're not sure whether he actually stayed in or not. We're just having a look at it at the moment. Melbourne Storm fans are up and off their plastic as to whether he got it down before his foot was on the outside. And the other thing is, it's a Category 1 for Tui, Category 1.
So hang on, now Coates puts the tackle here on Carraz. Now he goes out into touch, but he's not.
Oh, he loses the ball.
Does he lose it?
Yes. He loses
it down the tackle of Papenhuyzen. Oh, yes. They're on his forearm.
Yeah.
So there may not be enough downward pressure here from Jacob Carraz. No try. There you go. Well, the crowd saw it first on the first replay.
I was too busy looking at his feet to make sure he kept his feet in there, and he did. I wasn't thinking about it.
But also, put the ball down. It was just the reverse angle as well we saw from Jacob Carraz on the big screen. Tried disallowed. Back to 12-6 Melbourne's lead. As Kota mentioned, Category 1 concussion symptoms for Tui Kamikamitha, which means no further part in the game for him tonight.
Don't know what we're waiting for.
7 tackle set and a restart from 20 here for the Melbourne Storm. Time blown back on by referee Adam G. And there is still, by the way, 8 minutes and 45 seconds left of Harry Grant's sit-bin. So...
really smart play by Craig Bellamy, getting Jonah Pezzett on there as soon as Harry Grant went off, enabling Wishart to go in the hooker and to have both halves available.
Man slammed him over here, and now there's a second run from the second rower, Eli Katoa, 40 outs in the field. Play it there to Wishart, shares it in close down to Liero, gains 15 metres, up to the halfway here. On play 3 now for the Storm. Now Papenhuyzen dummies the pass in the 2-man tackle. Tupanua in there with Galvin. Flat ball from dummy half. Wishart finds Munster. Stands in the Haywood tackle. Now it's last play Melbourne, 35 out, 20 in from the western side. 8 minutes played second half. It's Melbourne 12, Canterbury 6. As the kick from Pezzett on that last play. High downfield there for Tracy. And he straight away goes pressing into Seve and also Joe Chan. 15 out from that northern line here at Amy Park. Carraz had the try disallowed a short time ago for an untidy grounding. Play it now, 25 out. Dogs have their tails up though here, Hoffy, with that first try of the second half. And more ball, more possession. A better use of it too, most importantly, in this second half. Here's Mann through centre field, now to Burton. They shape it left here. Burton does dummy, and now dart back on the inside. Run down by Ellie Katoa, 5 short of halfway. Haywood off to kick out, and now Tracy. No real gain here of yardage for the Bulldogs. Galvin swats away. Pezzett tackled 5 inside Melbourne territory. Last play, Canterbury-Bankstown, who trailed 12-6 in the hands of Melbourne. And there is Burton's kick. High in the air. It'll hang for a little while now as it's allowed to bounce by Papenhuyzen. Montoya's coming through, competes with Papenhuyzen, who wins it away here for the Storm. Papenhuyzen, 5 out from his own line.
Yeah, the Bulldogs can't let the disappointment of that try being disallowed sort of dampen their spirits. They need to stick with it because they were getting on top of the Melbourne Storm. They've still got over 6 minutes being up 13 men to 12, so they need to keep persevering here.
9 going second half here on ABC Sport. Melbourne 12, Canterbury 6. As the Storm are on the attack out of their own end. And has it. Dummies the pass wide. He's tackled there by Harry Hayes. And now Wishart wastes no time here at acting half. Flick pass comes back here to Wishart. Anderson to Munster. Collared by Crichton, and also Preston stops him. 35 out. 20 in from the western side. Last play, Melbourne who lead 12-6. That's Wishart. Off now again. Oh, now the last play kick from Pezzett. Spins back in a very slight breeze here at Amy Park in Melbourne. Montoya underneath it here. The winger has it on halfway here for Canterbury. And it's still 5 minutes and 50 seconds of the Harry Grant sin bin. It was placed on report for a shoulder charge on Harry Hayes. And we didn't know about it until sometime after. Later in that set. Now Burton has lost the footy here under pressure from Pezzett. So Melbourne ball 30 out from their own line. They lead 12-6, 10 going second half. And Ian Cohen the touchline.
Yeah, you talked about that breeze a little bit spriggy. It is getting a bit stronger. It's coming from the southern end, so it's the way the Bulldogs are running to. So their kicking game's going to have to be right on point. And for the Storm defenders, they're going to have to watch that high ball. It is going to become more tricky. It's certainly getting colder, but the ground conditions are great. Not expecting rain.
Around the grounds, AFL. Melbourne leads by 15 points. Hoffy and Koza. 71 plays 56 over Collingwood. And that's early in the fourth quarter. Half-time in Adelaide. Gold Coast 46 leads 4-31. Scrum feed here, Melbourne 30 out. Munster, inside ball now, Seve. And gains a quick 10 metres here. And met by Preston, 35 out from his own line. Wishart. On again back here to Joe Chan. One of their 4 try scores against Penrith last week. That Golden Point win. Of course, Penrith lost earlier at Golden Point at the hands of Canberra. 20 points to 16 in Mudgee. Right-hand side they go. Papenhuyzen shares it wide. Anderson chased by kick out. Puts in the kick. Bringing on in the middle here. Spun the tackle of Hayes. Gets up and play. He's a metre out. Opportunity for the Storm. They shape it left. Wishart. Pezzett. He puts his kick in for the corner. And Coates is there all by himself. Simple catch. Simple grounding. He does hard things. That was pleasing for Xavier Coates. And he scores his 19th try of the year. And Storm, despite being a man down, goes 16-6 ahead. Kick to come Melbourne, Ryan Hoffman.
Oh, the Bulldogs were all over him, but it took a third error for the Melbourne Storm to get the ball back. And they just beat it for numbers. I don't know how. They've only got 12 men out there. Pushed it all the way to their right edge. Made the break. Kick over the top. Great tackle by Harry Hayes to stop Nick Meaney from scoring the try. Then Jonah Pezzett gets the ball. He was only ever going to do one thing. A beautiful little kick across. Xavier Coates with the lead. Gets a try down. Melbourne Storm over.
That's time we go. Ian Cohen.
Well, I talked about Xavier Coates. He scored 11 times in 8 games. He can make that 12 in 9. A huge crowd in here. 25,693 Storm fans up and off their plastic.
The number again, Koza. Say again.
25,693.
25,693. Thank you, Ian Cohen. We'll see the kick here from Nick Meaney, and he'll be 22 metres out and 9 metres in from the western side, and he's scored 2 out of 2 so far kicking tonight. Against the run of play in this second half, Melbourne score through Xavier Coates. It was that quick shift, wasn't it? A couple of kicks and went right across to Xavier Coates.
He was only ever going to do that, Jonah Pezzett. He knew there was no one out there because the Bulldogs had gone across. All he had to do was put the kick on the money, and he absolutely nailed it.
Coates surpasses Daniel Tupou and Hamaso Tabuai-Fidow with that 19th try of the year, so he stands alone in the league leading try scorer listing. Here's Nick Meaney. Kick, slight angle left-hand side of the field. Northern end, in he comes, starts it right, comes back in that breeze beautifully. Melbourne 18, Canterbury 6. 13 going second half here on ABC Sport. You're with Brett Sprigg, Ryan Hoffman, Ian Cohen, and there's still 250 left of the Harry Grant sin bin as well. Around the grounds in the cricket, all over there in Mackay. Australia all out 193. Inglis was out for 87, top scorer, and the Proteas won by 84 runs. That second one-day international. McGeady finished with 5 for 42, by the way, as well. So that game's all over in Mackay. And as mentioned earlier, in tomorrow's pre-game show from Brookvale Oval, we'll speak to the score of the match-winning try in tonight's earlier game. Canberra Raiders fullback Kyle Weeks will join us at 2:25 tomorrow morning. In the wrap-up of these games, which have been fantastic. Storm lead here, 18-6. Tackled and playing it now, Lasati. They come open side, right-hand side of the park here now, the Melbourne Storm. Just shy of 26,000 in the building at Amy Park.
It's a good spattering of Bulldog supporters too.
Yes, they make a lot of noise.
Yeah, they made the trip down.
Valero, as it's spun wide here from Wishart. Off to that right-hand side again for Eli Katoa. Munster bursting by, receives a pass. Tackled 40 out to his own line. Last play, Melbourne. Wishart kicks at a dummy half and goes down towards the wing there at Montoya. 25 out from his own line. Canterbury back on the attack here. It's the Storm who lead 18-6. 14 going second half here on ABC Sport. But again, the Bulldogs waste no time. Bronson Sherry on a straightening run where he's tackled by Liero. Play it now to Haywood, 42 out to his own line. Tracy brings it back into the clutches there of Lasati, and he's forced back as well by Liero. 5 short of the halfway. Kurt Mann with a couple of plays left in this set as Kikau steps over the 40-metre line, tackled 20 in from the eastern side. Haywood on this second last play. Galvin to Tupanua, and he gains a quick 13 metres as well. This is last play, Canterbury, 22 out from that southern line. They trail 18 points to 6. Minute 20 left of the Harry Grant sin bin. Galvin kick up in the air. Coates does launch, brings it down there on the goal line, and Montoya, I beg your pardon, it's Carraz who pulls top of him, and it was grounded in the in-goal area, was it? Yes. So it's a line drop out here, Melbourne. Repeat set, Canterbury. It's the Storm who lead 18-6. 15 gone second half. Back to the touchline, Ian Cohen.
Well, there's plenty of Storm fans about to cheer Harry Grant when he makes his way back on. They're already shouting at him. They're standing up behind him. They want to get the skipper back out there.
It was really good discipline there by Carraz. Just as we see a switcheroo with a dropout.
So it's quite a flat dropout. It does go some distance on that 40-metre line to Viliami kick out.
Did you see that? The Papenhuyzen shaped that was going to do a short one, then offloaded it to Munster, who kicked along.
30 out from that Melbourne line here, Canterbury. Galvin to Tupanua. Up the right edge he goes, brought down by Liero. In concert there with Lasati. Here they go to that short side right now. Crichton tries to put Preston through the gap, but Seve got him down low. And up top there in defence, Joe Chan. Galvin back to Tupanua. Bounced off Wishart. Tackled 8 metres short of that southern line in front of the uprights. 18-6 as Harry Grant rejoins the play. Haywood dummy half. Back to Kurt Mann. It's been lost there by Burton. Into the path of Nick Meany. Error Bulldogs. Oh, now they're coming in from all angles. There was some demonstration out there, and now there's jerseys being grabbed and all kinds of fiery behaviour out there, Ryan Hoffman.
Yeah, well, you know, a push and shove, it's as good as a punch these days. It wouldn't surprise me if Viliami Kiko has a bit of a 10-minute rest, because he really came in hard from behind on Grant Anderson, who was giving Burton the business a bit. So, yeah, be interested to see what Adam G is going to do here.
Yeah. So Anderson was sort of ruffling the hair through the headgear of Burton, saying, "Well done, mate, making the error." And then Kiko came in and put his hand in the back of Grant Anderson. So that was the initial thing here. I haven't listened to the referee.
No. What was the one the other Roosters won the other week? We had 4 guys left.
Yeah, Roosters Dolphins. Here's just having a chat, Adam G, to Harry Grant, who's, as I said, rejoined the action.
So hang on. So Grant Anderson rubs someone on the back of the head, and then that's a penalty these days. Players have been doing that every single game for this year. So how is that a penalty? It was nothing until kick-out came in.
They roll on quickly here as it's carried there by Harry Hayes. 100 metres out, southern end of the ground. Bulldogs, can they capitalise here? They trail 18-6. Haywood, left-hand side now, received in low by Burton, takes on Peasant and also Papenhuyzen and also Katoa. 5 out southern end. Haywood, open side right, plenty of space there for Galvin. Tries to just zigzag there on Harry Grant and also Trent Liero. 5 out in front of the upright southern end. Haywood here for the Bulldogs from dummy half. Still a few plays left. It's tipped on by a kick out of Montoya and he's swallowed up there by Anderson and also out there Katoa. Kick out, dummy half. Fires it to Burton. Haywood through centre field. Now man runs the footy into Lasati and he'll be playing it 15 out. This is last play for the Bulldogs. Burton, back to the left-hand side. Sherry to Montoya. Mini, got in there involved in the defence, but it was offloaded to Xiaomi, kick out, and he goes over and scores. The Bulldogs do capitalise. Xiaomi kick out with his 50th NRL try. The veteran back rower makes it 18-10. Kick to come Canterbury. 18 gone, 22 left in the game of footy.
Yeah, great work by Montoya on that edge to take the tackle and then to be able to get the offload away. It was the last play. Melbourne Storm just allowed Burton to run across field. They didn't put enough pressure on him. Look, just going back to that penalty,
yes,
it was rubbish behaviour by Grant Anderson. He doesn't need to do that. He doesn't need to do that. But for that to be a penalty when it happens every single game is a bit of a joke. But well done to the Bulldogs. They got themselves back in this football game.
Maybe every ref is in some ways different and they penalise him. Well, I've called held, so get off him. Stop rubbing his hair. Everyone cuts on the back, that sort of stuff. So maybe some refs.
It happens every single game.
Touchline we go, Ian Cohen.
Yeah, Montoya did really, really well there not to head out and to touch, and also he was sort of spun into the right way to be able to get it back. So Montoya, good work. Obviously finished off by Kickow, and yeah, they'll be disappointed with that Melbourne Storm after coming from that Anderson penalty.
They got Harry Grant back as well, slightly earlier in that, before that set. So his sin minute expired. Back to 13 on 13. But Canterbury still took full advantage of the back of the penalty. So
a really good catch and pass. Just watching the replay. Really good catch and pass by Bronson Sherry. He was under a lot of pressure from Anderson. That was really good skill.
Penalty count 3-2 Melbourne, by the way, in the game. And now the kick, which will come from Stephen Crichton, on that eastern side of the ground. He was 22 out. 3 metres in from that eastern touchline in front of the Cameron Smith stand at Amy Park. 19 gone, 21 left in this second half in Melbourne. Loud chorus of boos greeting the Canterbury-Bankstown captain. In he comes, that's a shocking kick. He shanked that. Just dug it in too far with his left boot, and it's just landed well short.
It stopped nearly on the 20-metre line.
He knew as soon as he kicked it, if you could even say he kicked it, that it was going nowhere. So 18-10 is Melbourne's lead here at Amy Park in Melbourne. You're with Brett Sprigg, Ryan Hoffman, Ian Cohen. Close game at the MCG in the AFL. Round the ground there. Melbourne 73 leads Collingwood 69. Midway through the final quarter there. Meanwhile in Adelaide, Gold Coast 46 leads Port Adelaide 31 at half time, and in Mackay in the cricket, the second Monday International, South Africa won that by 84 runs over Australia. So there's the kick-off from Melbourne. Bulldogs with a set off to points. Montoya runs in to receive a fairly shallow kick-off in the end from Papenhuyzen, and Montoya dragged back there by two big bodies there in defence, and one of them was Eli Katoa. Play it there to Haywood. Bulldogs on the attack. Harry Hayes wants to just drive into the defensive line up that left-hand side of the ground. Haywood on that short side left. A kick out, the most recent try scorer. It's a milestone try for him. He's 50th in the NRL competition. And they go through centre field here again. Kurt Mann, the Galvin, and it ends up on that right-hand side here with the fullback in Tracy. Taken down there on the western side logo by Chan and also Munster. Where they go now, Kurt Mann. Gains a quick dozen over halfway here for Canterbury. And now it's last play Bulldogs. First receiver is Galvin. He kicks straight away. Up there for Xavier Coates. And he does launch in the end. Carraz was sort of coming in to sort of guard him, but Coates will start a new set there for Melbourne. 8 out from his own line at southern end. Now Seve, driven back by Haywood. Big tackle and forces the Melbourne centre all the way back. Play it there for Munster. Shifts it open side right now again, Papenhuyzen, and he does surrender here. 8 out from his own line. Shoves away Haywood, plays it there for Grant. Trying to get something going in attack here for the Melbourne Storm out of their own end with Utoikamanu. He's 20 out. 18-10 is the home side lead here in Melbourne. Grant off the deck, short side left, and now again with Joe Chan. Tackle dirty out from his own line. Seve in a dummy half, sort of unwittingly just sort of sends the pass out to Jonah Pezzett. He kicks on the bounce down towards Connor Tracy. And here's the Bulldogs fullback. Skips into some open space here. Shares it with Montoya. And Katoa makes the tackle on him. 8 short of halfway. 10 in from the eastern side.
All game, I've been really impressed with the Bulldogs line speed. They have really restricted the Melbourne Storm meters. It's only really been Bulldogs errors at it and penalties that have allowed the Melbourne Storm into their end. Their line speed has made it really, really hard for the Melbourne Storm.
That's the voice of Ryan Hoffman here on ABC Sport. As the Bulldogs go on the attack, 40 out from that southern line. Centre field run here as the pass came back from Carraz. Haywood, and now again Harry Hayes is stopped by 3 Storm defenders, Katoa, Lasati, and also Utoikamanu. 20 out centre field. Haywood fires at second last play to man, and now Galvin runs the ball off to Preston, the back rower. And he steamrolls Munster, but he's stopped 5 shy of that Melbourne line southern end. Last play, Bulldogs who trail 18-10 at the hands of Melbourne. Galvin, kick off the outside of the boot, picked up by Papenhuyzen. He was taken high there by Max King. Penalty Melbourne.
That's a poor finish to the set by Lockie Gale, but he just sort of hit it with a bit of a wet fish. He didn't get enough on it to get it in the in goal, made it too easy for Ryan Papenhuyzen, and they compounded with the error. But I've got to say, the Bulldogs attack their first 4 tackles. They're playing expansive. They're really hitting an edge. They're looking to hit the other edge. They've got such strike out on the edges that they're getting them lots of ball.
Touchline we go, Ian Cohen.
Well, they'd love another milestone try. Kurt Mann's also on 49 as well. If he can join Kiko on 50, the Dogs are right back into it.
They've had 55% possession of the Bulldogs in this game. They trail 18-10 on the scoreboard. 30 out from that southern line. Grant starts the chain here for Melbourne. And now here is Avalu Lasati. Tackle 35 out from his own line. Grant to Munster. Low ball Pezzett. A little shake and bake there. Out to Eli Katoa. Over halfway he goes. He takes on the man coming to him, Kurt Mann. And Burton got in there as well as he was slowed down. Katoa plays it back there for Mini. Offloads back to his back rower. And now Pezzett through hands to the Grants in the field. 40 out from Canterbury's line. Wishart, Papenhuyzen dashes away. He's claimed there by Preston, who took the leg. 30 out, 20 to the western side. Grant dummy half. Shares it with Joe Chan. He's in between 2 Bulldogs defenders. And he'll play it here. 20 out, 10 in from the western side. Last play, Melbourne, who lead 18 points to 10. Grant finds Wishart. Kick up in the air. Coates receives it. Points it back there towards Papenhuyzen. Grant, it's come off the Canterbury-Bankstown line, so it's there for Munster. 6 more Melbourne. 10 out left-hand side of the uprights. 18-10 the home side lead. 16 left in the game. It's been a very quick game of footy as there'll be 6 more here as Haywood was tussling up there with Munster. So it's a full set. It was play one anyway. So Grant, here we go. There's still some push and shove going on here. And it will be a penalty going Melbourne's way.
Yeah, so that's a bizarre one. Munster comes out to Bailey Haywood to pretty much have a push and shove with him, and Melbourne Storm get the penalty. I don't understand that decision.
By the way, scores level at the MCG. In fact, Collingwood's just got a point ahead, 76-75, with 6 minutes of AFL game time left there. The penalty, Melbourne here at Amy Park. They lead 18 points to 10. Ian Cohen on the touchline.
Yeah, that was a bit bizarre, that one, but there's certainly a lot more feeling back in the game as well. You can see it's been played at a frantic pace anyway, but it has certainly stepped up in these last 5 minutes.
It's still 15 minutes to go. We've still got a lot of football left in this game.
Penalty count 5-2 Melbourne, as well as a total of 4 ruck infringements to 3, which have gone Canterbury's way in this game so far. And they'll take the 2. Yeah, so the kick will come from Nick Meaney, only a very slight angle left-hand side of the uprights and 10 metres out.
Yeah, I really don't see how Melbourne Storm got the penalty there. I mean, Munster walked up into Haywood, but look, decision's been made. But look, the Melbourne Storm taking the 2 here. I reckon they would have liked to keep going, but those 2 points and soak up a bit of time is just too good to refuse.
So Mini, in he comes, and over the back line it goes. 20 points to 10. Melbourne's lead here over Canterbury-Bankstown. 14:50 left in the game at Amy Park in Melbourne. You're with Brett Sprigg, Ryan Hoffman and Ian Cohen on this Friday Night Footy on ABC Sport. Maybe it was justice for the earlier one before, which you were a bit amused by.
Yeah,
even now a little bit.
They've evened each other up.
20 points to 10 here. Collingwood now leads by 7 points at the MCG. 82 plays 75. Still half-time in Adelaide. Gold Coast 46 leads Port Adelaide 31. Earlier, South Africa beat Australia by 84 runs in the second ODI. And I reckon that means it's now a 2-0 lead. They won the first one, didn't they? South Africa by a big margin. Here's the run here from the kickoff. With Yatoi Kamano, plays at 12 out to his own line. Over the right-hand side they go here, the Melbourne Storm. 20 out, 20 in from the eastern touchline, as it is played there by Lasati. Swung back through some open space now. Munster feeds it back to Joe Chan, and he is tackled by Galvin and also Preston. 25 out, played to Grant. Away it comes to Wishart. Darts back here towards that 30-metre line where he's met by Harry Hayes. Storm leads here, 20 points to 10. 13:40 left in this second half on ABC Sport. Papenhuyzen feeds it back now to Joe Chan. Play at 40 out. Last play Melbourne. Grant, it's the first receiver, Pezzett, just punts it down, field into the set. Tracy, watched it over his shoulder, takes it in the end here, gets up off a slightly slippery deck, and now he's collected 25 out to his own line, all but end by 7. Melbourne 20, Canterbury 10, 13 left in this game here on ABC Sport. Carraz succumbs there in the tackle of Yatoi Kamano and also Munster. Plays at centre field, duty out. Galvin swings it across now for Burton. Can they find some more left edge points here, the Bulldogs? They've scored through Xiaomi Mi kick out most recently. Melbourne's most recent penalty puts them 20 points to 10 up here. Burton on the run again, 8 short of halfway. A couple of plays left now for the visitors. Man on here, over halfway. Dashing run from Harry Hayes. Needs some support. He's been chased by Munster and Coates, and he goes to fend here, and he lost the footy, I reckon. Lost it on that goal line. In that very last split second, pressure from Coates and also Papenhuyzen means Harry Hayes will not finish up the handiwork of his own run, and it remains Melbourne 20, Canterbury 10.
Harry Hayes he was spending too long looking for support. If he would have pinned his ears, I reckon he would have scored this. But he didn't back himself, was looking for blokes to support. Xavier Coates comes across and he loses the ball short of the line.
That's time to go, Ian Cohen.
Yeah, and there's concern for Hayes as well because he really ploughed his head into the surface and he's taking a fair while just to collect himself at the moment. But the closing speed of Xavier Coates and Ryan Papenhuyzen was just way too much and he wasn't going to get there. But he's a bit slow to get up. He'll obviously be disappointed, but gee, it was wonderful defence.
I reckon he landed on the ball and winded himself.
Yeah.
And I tell you, when you get winded like that, that's the closest you get to death. Seriously, that's what it feels like.
Like on the hip point area there?
If you land on the ball in your stomach, it is the closest you get to death, I tell you.
25 out from their own line here, the Melbourne Storm on the attack with a 20 points to 10 lead here at Amy Park. 12 and a half left in the game. They win this, our top two is done. It's Canberra and it's Melbourne. Any order, but most likely Raiders and Storm in that 1-2 to finish the season. And all the advantages that come with that. 2 home finals for each of them. Munster up through centre field here, taken there by Preston. And also in there, Reid Marnie in the action here, making the tackle. So only 12 minutes left in the game. That's his first involvement here, Reid Marnie. He's being used off the bench and rather sparingly by Cameron Ciraldo. 5 short of halfway. Grant finds Munster as Joe Chan tried to press his way over halfway, but Preston wrapped him up. Last play Melbourne, 20 in from the western side, 5 inside Bulldogs territory. Pezzett thumps it high and long downfield here for Connor Tracy. The Bulldogs fullback is met there 20 out from his own line by Munster and also Lasati. And the Dogs running out of time here off the 11 and a half left in the game. They trail by 10 points.
Yeah, look, they can still do it. They've shown in that last set that they can make a break, as they nearly make a break here with
Galvin. And he dummies the pass here. Goes the fend on Munster. Coming in hot though down low, Joe Chan. And also Harry Grant stopped him. 35 out. Galvin plays it now for Marnie, dummy half. Open side left again now Sam Hughes. And he backs his way into Lasati. Tracy will play it 40 out here for the Dogs. Few tackles left in this set. There's Kurt Mann, one of them. He's met by Josh King, metre short of halfway. Marnie to the right this time for the Bulldogs. On to Galvin. On to Tracy. Up that right edge for Crichton. Flick pass back for Carraz. It was too hot and triples out over the western touchline. We're going to come back here as Galvin's just being assessed. I think we're going to come back here for the penalty on.
Yeah, they're saying Galvin was hit.
It didn't look like, I saw that live, but it was. I don't know if that's necessarily penalty.
No.
Sufficient. That was Joe Chan. Put him in there on the side. So
he's saying dangerous contact. I don't know what was dangerous about it.
So penalty count 6-2 Melbourne. Scoreline 20 points to 10 Melbourne. 10 left second half. Ian Cohen on the touchline.
Yeah, there was concern about Harry Hayes with his knee as well after that jarring impact of Xavier Coates landing on top of him. So he was getting medical staff to look at that while he was wandering.
30 out southern end. Here's a nice press through centre field by Max King. On his New South Wales Origin debut this year, of course, Max King. Dummy half, Marnie finds Mann. Speaking of Origin debutants, Mann for Queensland. Kick out. 20 out, 20 in, Eastern touch. They trail by those 10 points here, Canterbury. As Marnie finds Galvin. On to Burton. Good dash here. Preston not quite. He had the legs taken down there by Seve. Good tackle. Potential try saver. Marnie off here. It's shoved back by the Bulldogs. It's in the path of Marnie. And he's tackled by Munster. 11 out right-hand side of the uprights. Couple of plays left here for the Bulldogs. Comes short side now, Crichton. Tipped on. Tracy to Carraz. There'll be no issues this time. Carraz runs that footy in. He was denied one earlier, but he's not denied this time. And it makes a game of things here in Melbourne. Storm 20, Bulldogs 14. Canterbury kick to come. 9:20 left in this second half on ABC Sport. Ryan Hoffman.
Yeah, smart play. Stephen Crichton gets the ball. That first receiver down the short side there on the Bulldogs' right edge. Just held it up nicely. Made the Melbourne Storm defence make the decision, and he just chose the right one. Gets the ball to Carraz on the edge. And look, the Bulldogs are certainly back into this game. But I tell you what, that penalty for the Melbourne Storm takes out the 2-point field goal. So that was a big call taking those 2 points.
Back to the touchline, Ian Cohen.
Crichton was so clever, so clever there. He just held onto it. He made the Storm defence guess, and in the end, the pass was bullet-like, and it just put Carraz over there. So well done to Crichton. Carraz certainly making the most of it and managing to get on the score sheet.
Hang on here, Hats Koza. Close game at the MCG. Goal the difference. Collingwood leads Melbourne by 6 points. 82 plays, 76 minutes left there. Meanwhile, all eyes on the finish here as well. 8:25 left in the game. Here's Stephen Crichton, 21 metres out here and 6 metres in from the western side to make it a 20 points to 16, 4-point buffer. Right side for a left footer. He's 1 from 2 so far tonight. Canterbury's captain. Massive kick this one. In he comes. We're right behind him as he kicks. And it cannons off the upright. And no goal. Still a 6-point ball game. Storm 20, Canterbury 14, 7:57 left in the game here on ABC Sport.
Yeah, look, the Bulldogs, I think it's the key. It's getting the ball to Stephen Crichton. He, late in that first half, when the Bulldogs had a really good run of possession, he spent a lot of time with his hands on the ball. He needs to get himself in the middle and start creating things.
20 seconds left at the MCG. Collingwood still leads by that 6 points. That's one AFL goal for those wondering. Here we go. Andy Park's just heaving as well. 25,000 plus here in the building tonight. This massive Friday night blockbuster between two top 4 combatants. Papenhuyzen kicks off. That kick-off just dinks there on Matt Burton. 15 out from his own line here for the Bulldogs. 7:40 left in the game here. What do the Dogs have left? Marnie. Off here to Max King, and he's driven to the deck there by a couple of defenders, Grant and Utoikamanu. Speaking of origin quality players, over that 30-metre line they go here. The Bulldogs through Sam Hughes. Hughes plays at 35 out now, man. Back to the left-hand side, kick out, and now Cherry. Fend there on Mini, takes on Laero. Stopped 40 out, 20 in from the eastern side. A couple of plays left here for the Bulldogs, who trail by those 6 points here. That's an awkward ball, almost knocked on by Max King. He does retrieve it though, 40 out cleanly. Last play, rolled to Marnie, kick from Burton. And there's Roosted deep here. Grant Anderson can't keep it alive. Inside 40.
Yeah,
so 40-20 here for the Bulldogs. It didn't look like much that kick from Burton, but he's done it a few times now.
He stuck it high, but what the Melbourne Storm been doing, they've been letting the ball bounce. I do not understand that. I'd much rather a bloke go up for the ball and drop it than to let it bounce.
Full-time AFL, Collingwood 82, beaten Melbourne 76. Sorry, Hoffy and Koza. 10 out centre field here, Canterbury. Galvin, inside ball, Max King. Bounced off Lero, put down by Josh King. 8 out, right-hand side of the post. Bulldogs trail by 6 points. Marnie shares it with Mann. He can dart back here. He's dumping a big tackle. In there was Harry Grant and Yutoi Manu. 5 out here, the Bulldogs. It's come to Galvin. He's too quick there for Josh King, but Grant stops him. 6.5 out from those southern uprights now. Marnie. Back to Kurt Mann, and now Burton. Kick out, lost the ball. Costly error. Melbourne back on the attack with Anderson, 11 out from their own line.
Yeah, that was a big play by Anderson, the man who made the poor read on the bomb as Melbourne Storm get a penalty.
So, 5:50 left in the game as Canterbury's defence was a little slow. Melbourne penalty. That penalty count will be 6-3 in the game. And 20 points to 14 remains at scoreline. Ian Cohen down to you on the touchline.
Well, Huffy, we spoke about it at half-time, and I described them almost as blue-collar, which is a little bit unfair. But Mini and Grant Anderson, they just do sometimes the right thing at the right time. They're great football players, and obviously Grant Anderson is going to be sorely missed, I would suggest, next year.
Yeah, he's off to the Broncos next year. Grant Anderson, 40 out from their own line here, the Melbourne Storm. He was actually born in Perth, Grant Anderson, in Fremantle. So it could be a Perth Bear, but no, he's off to the Broncos. 35 out. Here they go, Yutoi Manu. 20 points to 14. 4:55 left. Couple of imperative sets left in this game for either side. Josh King receives the ball from Grant. Angles his run there into Galvin, and he's tackled. He's been in from the western side. 40 shy of that northern line now, which the Bulldogs are defending. Couple of plays left here. Munster is collected by Mann and also kick out. 5 inside Bulldogs territory. Last play in Melbourne. Grant directs it right-hand side of the field. Has it. Off a step, and he was felled there as well by a kick out. He'll arrive there for Connor Tracy. The Bulldogs will start this set. 15 out from their own line. 5 in from the eastern side. 4:20 left in the game. Hoffy, it's the Storm by 6 points.
Yeah, they're going to have to start shifting the football, the Bulldogs. They love shifting to their right edge, so Melbourne Storm's left edge needs to be on song.
We'll see if they can find Carraz or similar again. Tracy, straight run, gains 10 metres, 25 out. Played to Marnie. Mann's the go-to man again in centre field. Galvin shares it to the right now. Crichton, there is that right edge. He steps on the inside there of Seve. A good chase there from Munster. 5 short of halfway. They put you there. Carraz bursts away. Shares it with Galvin. Up Main Street they go again, the Bulldogs. And he's brought down now by Liero. This is last play, Bulldogs, just inside Melbourne territory. Burton puts up the high kick. High spiralling ball there for Papenhuyzen. He lets it bounce and it goes dead. Out over the furthest of those southern lines on the Amy Park surface. 20 points to 14. 3:20 left in this game of footy. Storm by 6 points. Ian Cohen on the touchline.
Yeah, it's certainly going to get busy now, but the Bulldogs have to start really throwing it around. Xavier Coates with the ball now.
He goes through centre field. He was one of these second half try scorers. In fact, they're only second half try scorer, Xavier Coates for the Storm. Bulldogs have scored this second half through Haywood, Kickout and Carraz. It comes through hands to Munster. Play 2 here for Melbourne. Offload back to Harry Grant, who was sin-binned earlier. 2:50 left in the game. They run it laterally here. Grant to Papenhuyzen. And he's brought to the turf by a Burton. 5 short of halfway. Has it dummy half with Eliesa Katoa. Up over halfway he goes, and it takes 3 dogs to stop him. Storm 20, Bulldogs 14. 2.5 left here in Melbourne. Grant, a few steps from dummy half. And Mann's all over him. 35 out now, middle of the park here for the Storm. Couple of plays left in the set. 2:20 left in the game. Utoika Manu just patiently brings it into the clutches there of Mann and also Marnie. 25 out last play. Brad all the way back here for Papenhuyzen. 35 out long range field goal. Just was a little wide. I say long range. It was still inside, inside the 40, but it was a long range attempt worth 1 point. Alas, it gets no points because he missed. 20 points to 14 Melbourne score.
Yeah, they tried to set up for that Melbourne, but he just did not get a good purchase on it. Ryan Papenhuyzen, he'd love to have that one again. Seven tackle set for the Bulldogs. Sorry.
2 minutes left. Yeah, that could be available. 7 tackle set as well. There's the first of the 7, and they're 30 out from their own line. Up goes Sam Hughes. Angled run towards the eastern line. Tackled in there by Utoika Manu, 40 out. Marnie, can they just get good punch and good purchase, good position in this very important set? Burton with a bit of a break here before being run down by Chan and also Josh King on halfway. Dogs here on play 3 of 7. There's a good run from Jamin Salmon, 35 out. They trail by 6 points though, so it's a long-range field goal attempt here for the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs. There's Galvin on to Preston. Up the right-hand side he goes, tackled by Munster. He's 25 out, minute 20 left in the game. Marnie to Galvin. They must score a try here. Left-hand side shift now, kick out, dummies. Uses the inside now. Brought down out there by Mini. 9 out deep in that southeastern corner of the ground. Dummy half Sherry. Burton, crossfield kick. Up it goes. Who's there first? Coming through. Crichton! Does Crichton ground? There was a tangle of bodies in there. The footy came down. He's claiming a try. Let's have a listen.
We're on tackle 6. If we've got any touch off Melbourne, it's backwards. But I don't believe Steve regains possession prior to it hitting the ground after a touch.
He kind of puts his hand on the ball as it was coming down. It looks simultaneous for what it's worth from our vantage point, but of course we'll see some closer replays. He doesn't appear too confident.
Yeah, I think it goes through his hands.
Stephen Ryder is required to re-grip the ball before it touches the ground.
He's going to have a chat with the ref, Stephen Crichton, but he's claiming, even though it's come forward, he kind of puts his hand on the ball.
He fails to re-grip the ball. This is a knock-on. We have a decision.
Not good enough for a try, and that is a key moment in the game because it keeps Melbourne ahead by 6 points, but it left run off.
Yeah, he needs to take possession. I tell you what, it just showed his desperation, his urgency to get to the ball. He got a lot closer to that than he probably should. That was a great effort by Stephen Crichton.
Big cheers for confirmation. No try in Cullen down to you on the touchline.
Yeah, well, this week Storm recorded a record membership number of 40,237. They're not all here this evening, but the Storm crowd very, very loud, and all those new members will be pretty happy with that try tonight inside the last minute.
This will be 5 wins in a row for the Storm. Of course, 4 of those without Jerome Hughes. Yeah. So, Tyrone Wishart's played a pretty good role. 7.
They've got some players to come back. Jack Howarth, Will Warbrick's back playing reserves this weekend.
48 seconds left here for the Storm. We'll have the full wrap up here. Maloney Park, you can text us 0467 920 222. Get your text after the game. That's played there by Meany, 40 out. Away again here to Trent Liero. His 95th NRL game tonight. Of course, also made his Origin debut for Queensland this year, Trent Liero. Now Munster, Origin veteran on the halfway line. Tackle there. 20 seconds left. Storm 20, Canterbury 14. Joe Chan goes to ground here in the salmon tackle. 5 inside Canterbury territory. 12 seconds left. Grant, the blind side here. Has it. Just kicks it over the western side. Carraz in these last seconds from dummy half. He's going to reset them here with a second to go. Hang on. There's still a play left in the game here. However, unlikely 40 out in their own line here, Canterbury. As Burton thumps it up in the air on the full-time hooter. Papenhuyzen under it now. Allows it to bounce. They're chasing it through. And it is eventually quelled there by Nick Meany. And Melbourne hangs on for a 20 points to 14 win. That does affirm a top 2 finish. It'll be Canberra and Melbourne. Any order, most likely Raiders might find a premiership, but Melbourne win here at home with 12-0 half-time lead, 20 points to 14 the full-time score.
Look, it's a great win by the Melbourne Storm. It wasn't the prettiest. They definitely did not play well that second half, and the Bulldogs really threw everything to them. But they set it up with their defence and not allowed the Bulldogs any room for anything in that first half. But look, they showed that they are a top two team. But I think the Bulldogs are going to take a lot more out of this game than what Melbourne will.
3 tries each for these sides. So Katoa, Papenhuyzen and Coates for the Storm. Haywood, Kikau and Carraz all in the second half for the Bulldogs, who have now made it 3 losses in their past 4 starts. So it's a good game of footy. They had a good account of themselves in that second half, but that is in some ways the story here, as they haven't slid. They'll still be a top 4 side, you would think, and they'll finish that way, but the full line's not quite been there in recent weeks for the Bulldogs of Canterbury-Bankstown.
Things still aren't clicking, are they?
No.
There's still a bit of a disconnect that we're seeing with the Bulldogs attack.
So we'll get some reaction from me and Cohen on the ground very shortly. After the Storm have now made it 11 wins from their past 12 starts. Their only loss in that time was that 2-point result at the hands of Manly Warringah here at home. And that's now 9 wins of 10 at Amy Park this year. So most impressive for the Storm, who also lost their captain for 10 minutes in that second half, Harry Grant. But they see it through against the fellow top 4 side. Down to you, Koza.
Yeah, Matt Burton's with us. He's just taken the headgear off. For your body, that was a pretty tough night, and for your team as well. Tough night against Storm.
Yeah, look, we had our opportunities there. We just didn't ice them, and that's what big games are about. Yeah, it's disappointing for it to finish like that, but yeah.
It was semi-final football come early though, wasn't it, really? The intensity, especially for the first 40 minutes, was huge.
Yeah, for sure. We knew they were going to come out firing, and we wanted to do the same, and I thought we did that at the start of the game. Yeah, you just got to take your opportunities when you get them in them games, and we'll learn from that.
Did you think when they were 10 down or 1 man down, you thought that it could be an opportunity there? You were pushing hard.
Yeah, definitely. We thought there was opportunities everywhere, but you got to take them opportunities in them big games, and we just missed a few tonight.
What about for you, the body, the knee, obviously, with running into Grant Anderson, you had a couple of nicks and grazes?
Yeah, I'll be right. Just recover and come back, look at that, build on it for next week.
Okay, looking forward to semi-finals now.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, cheers.
Great stuff, Koza. Having a chat about Burton there first, as I'm sure the Bulldogs will make their way off the ground earlier, having been defeated here by the Melbourne Storm, 20 points to 14. So we'll get some more reaction from the winners shortly as well. And I'll get to your text after the game, 0467 920 222 here, as the Storm make it 5 wins in a row, and as earlier, Canberra beating Penrith in Golden Point at Mudgee means that they'll be likely first, certainly top 2, and the Storm will be right there with them as well. So we have two venues locked in for the first week of the finals, Hoffy, Canberra and Melbourne.
Yeah, 2 very tough road trips. So whoever the teams will be going to those venues, like it is a tough road trip, and it's going to be interstate for one of their oppositions.
25,693 here tonight. The crowd. Down to you, Koza.
Tyron Wishart with us as well. You get thrown around again, don't you? Harry Grant goes off and in you go.
Yeah, I guess that's part of my role here. So, like any game really, there's always going to be things that don't go your way, and obviously Harry going for 10 was one of them. We had Pez on the bench, so he slotted in and I went to the middle.
It was semi-final football right from the word go, wasn't it? Bulldogs came to play. Talk to us about the intensity.
Yeah, it was. It definitely had that feel about it, which is exciting. In the next few weeks, we've got another tough 2 games to go, and then leading into finals. So it's good to get a few games like this under our belt. But we knew they were going to show up. They obviously had that loss last week, and they're a quality footy team. And like all quality teams, they always show up after a loss. So we knew what was coming, and they came down here to ambush us. But luckily, we held on.
Obviously, no Jerome Hughes at the moment. Was there a bit more normality though with Cam Munster back in and Ryan Papenhuyzen?
Yeah, for sure. They bring a lot of calm energy to our team, especially Paps. He's really calming at the back and good for our team. So Munn back at 5'8", him at fullback really helped us out.
Well done, Tyron. Thanks.
Thank you.
Tyron Wishart, and as I mentioned earlier, Hoffy's been great, hasn't he? In that's his 4th start now in the absence of Jerome Hughes, and forming a great role.
Yeah, he is. Like he's the type of player Craig Bellamy loves. A player that doesn't matter what position you put him in, he is going to do the job, and he certainly did that tonight. I thought he had a very strong game. I thought it's been the best game he's played in the last couple of months. His running game, especially in that first half, was tremendous.
We'll get one more from you, Kozer, if we can, as far as reaction from the winners here. The Storm now with their 17th win of the campaign. It's a time of year that they know so well, these big late season games, and of course the finals still to come. Looking to press their claims for the title. Of course, Penrith looking for a 5th straight crown, and down to you again, Kozer.
Yeah, Ryan Papenhuyzen back in. He's wearing the biggest number I think you've ever worn in your life on your back, but you're back into the lineup.
Yeah, no, it's good to be back. Had a little week off last week with the concussion, but yeah, felt really good and good to get back into some sort of footy, and nice good turnout tonight in Melbourne.
Well, it was a fantastic turnout. Huge crowd, obviously. You can feel the energy out of the crowd, 25,000 plus.
Very loud there in stages. I was trying to call some plays, and I swear I was only 10 metres away from Munster, and he couldn't hear me, so that's awesome. Like, every time we come out here, they give us so much energy. When we needed momentum, they got really loud, and it's what you love. I love going back there after a try and giving them a clap, and the response you get, it's pretty special. So yeah, hopefully a few more games here, and a few more big crowds too. No doubt. Your opposite number, Connor Tracy, had his work cut out because the crowd was jeering every time that the high ball was put up. Yeah, I feel like when you make a mistake early here, you dig yourself a bit of a grave. So yeah, no, really, that's what I mean. When they can get in the heads of opposition players, that's a bonus. And yeah, I thought he didn't have the greatest first half, but in the second half he was really involved, and it didn't bother him. So yeah, just credit to him as a player, and hopefully the crowd can keep doing that turn up. The Raiders result, and obviously this result here at AAMI Park, means the top two is probably decided one way or another. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to the team? Means a home final, I guess. Yeah, you try not to look too much into that. It's obviously nice to get a home final, but we just still got to stick to what we need to do. You need the right momentum going into the finals. We can't just put it away now and roll through these next two games. They're still really important. So yeah, nothing changes. I think we just got to keep seeing this building momentum and keep playing our brand of footy going into the finals. What was Craig like at half time? Was he happy with the 12-0 lead at that stage? What was his instruction? Yeah, I guess so. Defensively, I think we were under a bit of pressure there, and we held out and kept them to nil, but it was actually quite surprisingly positive, which, I mean, 12-0 at half-time probably should be, but no, he was good, and then Harry and Munster spoke really well just about what we needed to do in the second half, and yeah, we're under pressure there a few times, and it was just the same message, so we should keep getting used to that, keeping that in our heads, and just back on what we do. We've got a really good team this year, and if we can stick to our footy, puts pressure on other teams to stop us. And huge momentum now going into September. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, the next 2 weeks are really important for us too, so just got to keep building momentum, and yeah, new season starts in September, so we'll take whatever we can out of this regular season, and yeah, hopefully try and implement it. Thanks for your time, Ryan. Thank you.
Ryan Papenhuyzen there with Ian Cohen, and correction, Ryan, it doesn't mean one home final, it means 2 home finals. There's a huge difference because, of course, it's the best possible path to the premiership. So, Kozer, just a final thought from you finally. We saw Kamitha took no further part. He had a Category 1 HIA, didn't he? And then Harry Grant also sent him in the second half. Despite that, the Storm hang on to win 20 points to 14. A final thought from you downstairs.
Yeah, look, it was fantastic football to watch, and you could see obviously the Bulldogs were really devastated not to have either levelled it up and forced it into Golden Point, which was always on the offing as well. But look, for the Bulldogs, they'll take plenty out of it as well. For Melbourne Storm, again, they win at home. It's a real fortress here at AAMI Park, obviously, and it does build up to a ripping one next week as well. So, look, it is going to be a momentum builder for Melbourne Storm, but they'll be mainly happy to have got through it. Obviously, Tui will have to be assessed, and Ryan Papenhuyzen coming back from concussion issues himself, so that's going to be something they'll watch out for. But otherwise, they go into it. I mean, Jerome Hughes is really the missing piece of the puzzle, and I know Craig Bellamy's been very keen to try and get some football into him before semi-final football, but we'll wait and see how that unfolds. But I think Storm will be pretty happy with the win.
Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Ian Cohen with us here on the sideline here at AAMI Park, where we saw 25,693 in the crowd. Melbourne with their 17th win of the campaign.
Can I just mention the crowd? That's a huge crowd.
Yeah.
With Collingwood and Melbourne across the road. on a Friday night to get over 25,000 here. It just shows like the Melbourne people love their live sport.
That game won by Collingwood, by the way, in the AFL by 6 points. And in the third quarter in Adelaide, Gold Coast and Port are tied at 52 points all as they approach three-quarter time there. You're with Brett Sprigg alongside Ron Hoffman. We'll get to your text shortly, 0467 920 222. And we'll also look back on that phenomenal finish in Mudgee, where Katoa Weeks scored the game-winning try, 20 points to 16 over Penrith, and that means that Penrith have now been beaten in Golden Point in back-to-back weeks. Of course, it was Melbourne last week, and I said back-to-back weeks, no pun intended, of course, the winning try scored tonight in Mudgee, but we'll speak to him, by the way, as well tomorrow on our usual NRL Saturday program with myself, Luke Lewis and Michael Carianis, and of course we keep sending our best wishes to our great mate and colleague Andrew Moore, who's recovering in hospital. So 20 points to 14 here, 0467 920 222. Jeff has turned his ire away from the Bulldogs and onto referee MG. I'm not going to read specific texts about, I don't like referee bashing, to be honest. There are a few calls we were a bit mystified with throughout the game, but that happens in most games of footy. Someone asked for the crowd figure. I mentioned that there, 25,693. Marrickville Mike. Actually, we'll get to your text shortly, Marrickville Mike. James in Mount Garnett says, related to Corey Horsburgh, I'm very pleased to hear that Canberra is a likely minor premier. I'm a Penrith supporter, but I guess blood's thicker than water. Good on you, James. And that was a phenomenal game, which we'll talk about and get the full wrap of Tim Gable and the team very, very shortly. Marrickville Mike, not much being said about the Sharks. Do you think they have any chance in the finals? Dark horse, question mark. So if you factor in their 2 points for the bye, they're sitting in fourth at the moment. Of course, the Panthers have played their game and lost, so they slipped down to sixth for the time being. Broncos would be rightly favoured to beat Newcastle on Sunday, albeit it's in Newcastle. Not that it means an awful lot for the Knights, unfortunately. Warriors face Gold Coast on Saturday. So the Warriors, it's biggest belief here. And I'll get to the Sharks in a second, but the Warriors could still be a top four team, despite the fact that since they lost Luke Metcalf, they've been really nowhere as far as their best sort of team on the park or their best form. But they're still the most likely scenario that the Warriors still finish in the top four. The Sharks, though, lost Cam McInnes. That's awful. The ACL, he misses, of course, the rest of this year and most of next year as well. So it's going to be a big out for the Sharks.
Yeah, it's certainly, look, the Sharks can spring an upset, but I think what you've seen with the two games tonight, there is a gulf to the rest of the team, and that's, I would have put the Warriors in there as well. Unfortunately, injuries have I think cruelled their chances, but they're doing very well with the players that they do have available. But I think the four teams you saw tonight, the Raiders, the Panthers, the Storm and the Bulldogs, I think there is a gap to the rest of the top eight.
Rick from WA asked, what does Ryan think of Trent Loiero?
Trent Loiero as a bloke or as a footy player?
Either one, but as a player, I suppose.
Yeah, look, Trent Loiero is a very, very underrated player because what he does, it's the stuff he does off the ball. He's going in, filling the space, putting kick pressure on, inside pressure on ball players, taking up those tough carries. He's a tremendous player. He's not on the level of Isaiah Yeo yet, but he is certainly trajectorying that way. And his ball playing in the middle just allows the Melbourne Storm's attack to attack the fringes.
Grimesy says it's a four-horse race for the Premiership. Canberra, Melbourne, Roosters, Dolphins, asterisk, pending they make the eight. No one else can win the comp. Dolphins have been hit by injuries, and they lose Nicarima for tomorrow as well with illness, so that's been their issue, the injuries for the Dolphins. They are still a mathematical chance, or they're still a decent chance. They can still not win all their remaining games and make it if other results go their way, but it'll be tough for the Dolphins, and the Roosters most likely, I think, to make it. Anyway, how good is Carraz is down in Brisbane. Paul on the Sunshine Coast. Cameron Smith was given, 10 minutes to the sin bin for patting an opposition player on the head.
No, he wasn't.
No, that wasn't the Shark Park one?
He got put in the bin at Shark Park, but it wasn't for that. It was for back chatting Matt Chechen.
Yes.
I was on the paddock that field, so I know exactly what it was for. Cameron Smith, to my knowledge, has never patted a player on the head after making a mistake. He may give you a gobful, but I had never seen him pat someone on the
There's a Dennis Carnahan song about that night at Shark Park where he got bent.
Yeah, I think there was something like 42 penalties or something that game. Like, it was absolutely insane.
Jeff in Sunshine's not happy. Lots of text here. Great call as always. Cheers for your company in my tractor whilst I'm spraying the mango trees, and hopefully the Manly boys do right by Chez tomorrow. I'll be here listening to you, Brett in Far North Queensland. Thank you for your texts that have come through. Thank you, Paul in Brisbane. I must admit, it's great to hear the Bulldogs chat in Melbourne. Anyone to beat the Storm, LOL. Christy, the Russell Island Dragon.
There was a lot of Bulldog supporters. They travelled really well, their supporters.
I mentioned in my earlier preview, there's been this sort of dormant fan base that have been activated. Of course, they played finals last year as well, but this year is just something different about the Bulldogs, albeit they have lost now 3 of their past 4, and they'll still finish top 4, but can they spring to life in these sort of scenarios against proven finals combatants like Melbourne? They just fell short tonight. I don't know. Do they get a pass mark for pushing Melbourne to within 6 points tonight? I mean, how do you...
Well, the question, they had a lot of football. They had a lot more football than the Melbourne Storm, and they couldn't convert that to points, and that was their issue in the first half. They couldn't convert their field position into points, and the Melbourne Storm did, and that's been the question mark on the Dogs. But the changes that they've had in their spine, and Cameron Serrato is sticking to his guns, and I really admire the way he's been able to make major decisions for his team. But whether or not that they can find that combination that they need to go deep in the finals, I'm not 100% sure.
Mark from Mount Druitt, thank you for your text. Roger Storm King for your correspondence as well, and as well to those of you that have sent text right across the evening. 0467920222. Try scorers: Shelley Katoa in the 15th minute, Papenhuyzen in the 24th, and Xavier Coates, the only second half try scorer for the home side in the 50th minute. He now is the leading try scorer in the competition, going ahead of Daniel Tupou and Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, who both play tomorrow. And Nick Meaney was 3 from 3 conversions, plus the penalty as well. So 4 from 4 all up. Harry Grant was sin-binned in the 44th minute. They were 12-0 at half-time, and those second half try scorers for Canterbury-Bankstown were all Haywood 43, Kickout 56, and Jacob Carrad 69. Crichton just 1 from 3, which could have proven the difference.
That was almost the game there, really, wasn't it?
Who are your 3 best? Ryan Hoffman and the ABC Player of the Year.
3-2-1. 3 points went to Cameron Munster. I was really impressed by him. I was impressed by the amount of times he was getting his hands on the ball and taking some tough carries, and did some really good work in defence. A lot of the good things the Melbourne Storm did came off the back of him getting the football in his hands. 2 points went to Eli Katoa. I think I've given him 2 points, points every game, but just because how great he's been for the Storm. When they need a big play, when they need an inspirational act, Eli is the player to do it. And 1 point for me went to Bulldogs captain Stephen Crichton, who I think was close to, with Harry Grant, the 2 best captains in our game at the moment. He had a real captain's knock, doing everything he possibly could to get his team back into the game.
So 3 Munster, 2 to Eli Katoa, he's having a great year again, and 1 to Harry Grant.
Stephen Crichton.
Sorry, Stephen Crichton. You mentioned the captain. I was thinking of the other captain.
I just wanted to confuse you, Spriggy. You've had a bit going on.
I'm looking at the other thing. We're going to recap the Mudgee game from earlier as well, yes. So stay with us for all of that. In the AFL, by the way, 3/4 time, Port Adelaide 58 leads Gold Coast 52. In fact, let's hear the wrap up. It was a phenomenal finish. Nathan Cleary had a field goal attempt, Kennan off the left-hand upright, back in the field of play, Ethan Strange with a break, Kyo Weeks with the game-winning try, and Tim Gable, Alan Tongue and Sam Williams wrap it a lot for us.
Thank you, Spriggy. Yes, in front of 9,925 here in Mudgee. Quite an incredible game of rugby league, with the Raiders beating the Panthers 20 points to 16 in golden point extra time. Nathan Cleary's shot at field goal hit the upright, bounced into the field of play, and the Raiders ran the length of the field to score a runaway try, and K.O. Wicks was on the end of it. He scored 20 points to 16, the Raiders over the Panthers. In fact, the Raiders scored the last 3 tries of the game. The Panthers seemed to have the game in control at 16 points to 6, 10 minutes into the second half, but then Sasangi and Strange scored tries, 16 all, and then in golden point extra time, Panthers had their chances, but the Raiders, as I say, with that runaway try, going away with the game, 20 points to 16. Quite a remarkable game of rugby league. Alongside me is the former Raiders skipper, Alan Tongue.
Oh, wow.
Tim, this was just unbelievable footy. You know, we came here, we talked about how important rugby league is to take it to the bush. Absolutely packed house here, and they were absolutely treated to a masterclass, a game that went beyond the 80 minutes, right to the end. Really, really good football. Both teams, they threw the ball around when they could, but it was tough. It was really tough. They played defensively really strong both sides, and were locked up at half-time, at full-time, at 16 points apiece. You know, it was really a really great game. We talked about the kicking game from both teams and how important it would be. Both Cleary and Jamal Fogarty did a wonderful job right at the end, as you mentioned, right at the death. The field goal that just hit the upright and went into Jed Stewart's arms, which was fantastic. He got the ball out wide to Ethan Strange, run down to Kyo Weeks, but just amazing footy. We got a taste of semi-finals right here in Mudgee and on the ABC radio. It was fantastic game of footy to watch, and I'm sure everybody in Mudgee had a blast, and I know Sammy down there as well. You had a great time. What were some of your thoughts, mate, on the game?
What a sensational game of footy. And look, Tony, we can all remember when we were young and the NRL came to the bush. It may have been a trial game, it may have been a school clinic, but you never forget about it. The kids who have came out tonight and seen this game of rugby league, they're going to be hooked for life. They loved every bit of it. It was two real quality teams. It wasn't a throwaway game where it was just given to the bush just because we thought we'll give them one. It was an absolute blockbuster. You wouldn't have seen a better game in the middle of Sydney if your life depended on it. It was cracker. I thought that the Raiders take so much belief out of that, and I was only thinking to myself midway through that second half, they need to be able to stay patient and remain patient and stick to their processes, because in the big games you're not going to lead them all and hold on to the lead all the time. You're going to have to find ways to win differently, and I thought that they slowly but surely found a way to be able to win the game, and it took them more than 80 minutes today. It took them absolutely 83 minutes, I think it was, to be able to hit the front and take over this Panthers side. They'll take a lot of belief from it. I don't think the Panthers, once again, will lose any admirers. It just makes it more difficult for them, especially trying to get into that top four. Now it makes it awfully difficult. I think that for Penrith to do the 5-peat, which is crazy to say anyway, for them to do the 5-peat, they're going to need to do it from outside of the 4. They can still do it, but it makes that job just that little bit more tricky. What I want to say is too, I want to give these Panthers players a massive rap, because I'm looking around now, nearly 10,000 in here at Glen Willow. They're out there signing autographs, they're taking photos, and the selfies in the modern game, they've overtaken signatures. It's not easy to smile after losing a game like that, but I look at Nathan Cleary, I look at Isaiah Papali'i, I look at Dylan Edwards still out on the field signing autographs in, you know, a really disappointing fashion. But what a spectacle, what a game of footy, and long live rugby league.
Good on you, Sam. Thank you, Alan. You're 3-2-1, Alan.
Oh, yeah, really, really tough to do here, Tim. But I gave 1 point in the end to Ethan Strange. Amazing game there. Big moments there where he scored the try to lock us up at 16 apiece. But then at the end there was, you know, amazing. He was in everything. He was a real handful. He was aggressive. 2 points I went to Nathan Cleary. His kicking game, his control was just brilliant. Nearly won them the game. But my 3 points went to Kyo Weeks. Every time he got the football, he was causing headaches. He ran for 276 metres, and an important one was that backup play right at the end there. His last 15 metres was the most important to win it in extra time. So 3 points to Kyo Weeks, 2 to Nathan Cleary, and 1 to Ethan Strange. Huge, you know, rab. So Brian Tato, 243 metres. I thought Joe Tarpany and Corey Horsburgh were brilliant too. Many great performers. That was my 3-2-1. We had just treated to a wonderful game of rugby league.
Thank you, Alan. So full time here, 20 points to 16. And the Raiders scoring the last 3 tries of the game to Sasangi Strange and then Kyo Weeks in Golden Point extra time to win 20 points to 16 over the Panthers, and the crowd 9,925.
Kyo Weeks, the hero, and he was Alan Tung's player adjudged best of field there as well. After that win in Golden Point, Canberra hooker Tom Starling spoke with our own Sam Williams.
Tommy, rugby league, can it be beaten?
Mate, how good is that? That is just unbelievable. That was back and forth that whole game, and mate, what a way to finish. Two of the young boys in our team, Kyo and Strangers, pulling something off magical. So Jed Stewart, mate, get back there to the pass, and wow, mate, I'm speechless.
What a final few minutes. You had opportunities, you score. Jamal probably kicks that 99 out of 100 times. He has field goals, and then all of a sudden, it's a field goal off the upright. Raiders go 100 and win the game.
Well, mate, I don't even know what to say. That's just crazy. I was sitting on the sideline going, what is going on here? I think that's a taste of finals footy, mate. What's to come? His comp's wide open, and we want to go after it. Mate, we showed today. We're a bit patchy in that first half. A few of our execution things, but man, we stuck tough and want to win for the club.
In terms of learning for big games, you don't get much bigger than taking the 4-time premiers on. You've come out, you've beaten them. It makes it really hard for them now, top 4. But for yourselves, how much belief comes from that?
Mate, it's huge. I think the stuff that we practice, mate, we practice that field goal set all week. We practice them situational stuff, and mate, we put ourselves in good positions to hit field goals. It's just, the execution sometimes, but that's footy, man. And then that's just showing up in the dying seconds of a game. Wow, what a mate, it's speechless. I'm puffing. I was on the bench. I'm puffing and screaming. Mate, what a moment. That's huge for us, mate. We'll obviously we'll watch that and get ready to bounce into next week. Still got a couple of games to go.
Congratulations, Tommy. Go enjoy it.
Thanks, Tommy boy. Appreciate it, brother.
Tom